What's happening, man? How's everybody doing? How is everybody doing? Huh? Hit the like button, man. Support the channel. We in this joint, man.
Milwaukee man. We'll start with our big story tonight. A 22-year-old Milwaukee man charged in the homicide of a transgender woman.
The man charged told investigators he was being black.
Milwaukee man charged
told investigators he was being blackmailed. Christina Van Zelst is live with the new information we're learning today.
Davion Steed is the man charged in this homicide. Prosecutors say that he shot and killed Amari Dior at her home back in February. Steed told investigators he was being extorted.
22-year-old Davion Steed is charged with first-degree intentional homicide in the February killing of a transgender woman, Amari Dior. Prosecutors say he shot Dior 3 times at her home on North 95th and Brown Deer. Thursday, he made an initial appearance in court where he pleaded not guilty.
He's 22. He doesn't have any criminal record that I'm aware of.
When you combine that with the allegations that we see here in the misdemeanor facts, it even more explicitly outlines the incredible threat to the community.
Prosecutors say the two were messaging each other on Facebook for a month before meeting in person. Investigators say when they went through Dior's phone, they came across a Facebook conversation where Dior was threatening to expose Steed for having relations with a transgender woman and demanded Steed pay her. When investigators showed Steed a picture of Dior, prosecutors said Steed replied, quote, "I know dude as just a blackmailer," and quote, "You would think it's a female." A vigil was held for Dior last Saturday. Just hours before that vigil, Steed was arrested during a police chase that ended when the car crashed near 60th and Hampton. Video shows him running from police. Steed and a 23-year-old were arrested.
And today in court, Steed's bond was set at $500,000. Reporting live in Milwaukee, Christina Van Zelst, Fox 6.
She said the transgender was trying to extort him. He said the transgender was trying to extort him. So we just gonna gloss over that? We just gonna gloss over that? We gonna gloss over that?
Steed and a 23-year-old were arrested.
And today in court, Steed's bond was set at $500,000. Reporting live in Milwaukee, Christina Van Zelst, Fox 6 News.
And now to new video from Marquette Police showing the interaction Davion Steed had with police on January 29th, just a few weeks before Dior was shot and killed. Prosecutors say that Steed pulled out a gun at a woman and her mom who were walking. Prosecutors say Steed's Facebook profile photo for the account Glock Boy Davy matched records from this incident 2 weeks before Dior's homicide, which is how investigators pieced together who they were looking
A Milwaukee woman is grieving as her brother sits in jail accused of killing her son.
Prosecutors say Kendrick Williams' uncle stabbed him to death. Tonight, Williams' mother tells me this loss is unbearable.
It's like losing two people, my son and my brother.
Carolyn Mallett is living with the pain she wishes on no one.
I can't sleep, can't eat.
Prosecutors say last week her brother, 62-year-old Patrick Riley Jr., fatally stabbed her son, 35-year-old Kendrick Williams. Riley Jr. is now charged with first-degree reckless homicide.
How can you say you love me, but then you turn around and you take my child?
How do you cope when your brother is accused of killing your son?
You can't. It can't be that much in the world for you to do that. And your blood.
The stabbing happened March 4th, just before 6 p.m. near 18th and Hopkins. Mallett owns the home, but says her son, who was a father of two, and her brother lived there together. That evening, she says her son called complaining his uncle wouldn't clean up. Minutes later,
my brother called me saying he on the floor. And I said, what you mean on the floor? And I said, you better not be gonna do something to my baby.
Riley Jr. told police his nephew came on the porch talking crazy to him. That's when he says his nephew slapped him in the face and he blanked out.
I already knew he didn't slap you. And I said, what you mean on the floor? And I said, you better not be gonna do something to my baby.
Riley Jr. told police his nephew came on the porch talking crazy to him. That's when he says his nephew slapped him in the face and he blanked out.
I already knew he didn't slap you because you would really had to do something to him.
Prosecutors say Riley Jr. admitted to picking up a folding knife and stabbing Williams once. He then walked to a neighbor and asked her to call 911 and his sister. Is this something you can see yourself forgiving him for?
Who knows? That'll be something that God will have to work on me with.
A judge ordered a competency exam for Riley Jr. A cash bond was set at $150,000. He's due back in court on April 7th. Mallett says she will be in the courtroom.
And welcome back, everyone, here to Live Now from Fox. I'm your host, Mike Page, as we
A Milwaukee woman is grieving as her
He's accused of killing his girlfriend, then living in their shared apartment for weeks.
The suspect in this case denies killing the woman. Prosecutors say there is ample evidence to the contrary. Bill Misted explains police only learned about the woman's death when he walked into a police station.
On February 27th, Sirkan Akshilad walked into District 1 to tell police his girlfriend was dead. The thing is, investigators say evidence points to her death more than a month earlier, and that Akshilad tried to cover it up.
After killing his girlfriend, stayed with her for approximately 3 weeks, sleeping apparently next to the body.
Filings say the woman had 12 stab wounds. Akshilad was in the hospital for surgery to remove a nail from his head after prosecutors say he admitted to buying a nail gun and tried to die by suicide. Akshilad and his girlfriend shared a fifth-floor apartment at Vim and Vigor in the Brewery District. Filings say a resident and employee both told investigators they heard arguing and screaming coming from their apartment on January 24th. That evening, prosecutors say Akchalad went to Pick and Save on Holt and bought bleach and bug-killing spray. The next day, prosecutors say Akchalad bought the nail gun. Investigators said the woman's body appeared to be staged and that a, quote, extensive amount of blood was cleaned up. A box cutter was found in the dishwasher.
Were it not for him being evicted, he would not have even disclosed the body.
He maintained and still maintains his assertion or belief that he had no involvement with her death.
His attorney said Akchalad is a Turkish national and in the U.S. on verified asylum status. A court commissioner set his bond at $1 million and to turn over his passport. He's due back in court next week. In Milwaukee, Bill Miston, Fox 6 News.
At 5, the mother of Samantha Marion, the woman charged in connection to the shooting death of Pastor Ricky Floyd, is breaking her silence tonight on behalf of her daughter. She didn't want us to show her face, but she does want everyone to know that her heart goes out to the pastor's family, and her heart also breaks for her family to see her daughter behind bars.
Things are calm in this Whitehaven neighborhood where Samantha Marion lives, a far cry from the chaos the night before, miles away here in South Memphis.
Hit the like button. Hit the like button, man. Hit the like button, man. This is the story we covered yesterday, man. The pastor, man. The clubbing pastor, man.
Memphis, where the 42-year-old was taken into custody and later charged in connection to the death of Pastor Ricky Floyd. Since being arrested, no one except for family has heard from Samantha, so we went to the family home. Samantha's mom answered at the McPherson Road home she shares with her daughter. Although a bit hesitant, she eventually opened the front door before opening up about the one moment that forever changed the lives of many.
I'm sorry that there has been a death. I'm sorry for the family.
While also voicing concerns for her child.
This is not my daughter's character. And she was defending herself and maybe in her mind was defending the two friends she was with.
According to a police affidavit, Pastor Floyd became, quote, irate and aggressive towards all three. Her friends seen here embraced her. As one told detectives, she tried getting between Floyd and Samantha when it's alleged the pastor began walking towards the woman who would later allegedly fire.
Hold on. What?
Sorry for the family.
While also voicing concerns for her child.
This is not my daughter's character. And she was defending herself and maybe in her mind was defending the two friends she was with.
According to a police affidavit, Pastor Floyd became, quote, irate and aggressive towards all three. Her friends. Pastor Floyd became, quote, irate and aggressive towards all three. Her friends seen here embraced her. As one told detectives, she tried getting between Floyd and Samantha when it's alleged the pastor began walking towards the woman who would later allegedly fire that single fatal round.
Anybody in any situation, when you become afraid, you become afraid. And fear, will drive you to that. And she had to be awfully scared.
Samantha's mom, who was visibly upset, then lowered her head while putting her hand over her heart before delivering a message to her daughter, who she tells us is currently on suicide watch in jail.
She needs to continue to have faith in God and know that we love her and we're praying for her.
Is faith those who knew Pastor Floyd are also leaning on.
We just got to stay in prayer for each other, watch, as scripture says, as well as pray.
Samantha's mother telling us, of course, she understands the pastor's family is grieving. She's grieving as well, she went on to tell us. She's hopeful her daughter will be able to return to the community she's called home her entire life sooner rather than later. Reporting for your news leader, Jarita Patterson.
Not a lot of new information, man, on that one. Not a lot of new information. Not a lot of new information on that one.
At 5, the mother of Meanwhile, as we wait for more answers in the investigation, community leaders are honoring and remembering Pastor Ricky Floyd.
WRIG's Raven Copeland joins us now live. And Raven, I know you attended Fraser's Exchange Club's meeting today. That's a group Pastor Floyd was heavily involved with. What did you hear there?
Good evening, Greg and Stephanie. Yeah, I felt an empty void in the room today among dozens of Fraser residents and leaders. Now, despite the sadness, there was also a feeling of hope.
A missing presence was felt today at the Ed Rice Community Center. Every week, the Fraser Exchange Club gathers with the community to share visions for the city. Pastor Ricky Floyd would have been in attendance today. For years, the pastor dedicated himself to helping and healing the city of Memphis in any and every way he could.
He was a servant at heart who was always trying to find a way to make Memphis better by making the people better. And that's something we cannot miss. It is very important that we pay attention to people, that we value people and give people what they need.
Pastor Brown worked alongside Pastor Floyd for years, helping community members in need, lifting people up in prayer during difficult times, and working endlessly to stop the violence in Memphis. The two men people up in prayer during difficult times and working endlessly to stop the violence and working endlessly to stop the violence in Memphis. And working endlessly to stop the violence in Memphis. And working endlessly to stop the violence in Memphis. And working endlessly to stop the violence in Memphis. The two men formed a friendship and brotherhood, a bond that will never be forgotten.
The nation's lost a giant, and it is our duty to stand strong and to make sure that legacy doesn't wane, to not only support the community, but to support his family, to support his congregation, but more importantly, to support one another.
Loved ones tell me Pastor Floyd never passed judgment and always gave people second chances at life, regardless of their stories.
When you talk about Pastor Floyd, you talk about someone that was able to take a person like me, get them in church, someone that had been broken. He helped me navigate from the prison system to be able to become a community leader, to build a business.
Durham said,
"That's all the community leaders was come from prison, man. All y'all community leaders come from prison. Press 1.
About Pastor Floyd, you talk about someone that was able to take a person like me, get them in church, someone that had been broken. He helped me navigate from the prison system to be able to become a community leader, to build a business."
Durham says she will uphold his legacy by providing people with opportunities that can help them plant seeds for a better life, just like Pastor Floyd once did for her.
Now, today is also First Lady Floyd's birthday. As you can imagine, the church and the community are wrapping their arms around Pastor Sheila Floyd. Reporting live in Fraser for your news leader, Raven Copeland.
Multiple people are recovering after an overnight shooting at a Westwood nightclub. Memphis police say the shooting happened at Lucille's Blues and Diner. That's on South 3rd.
Another night, another shooting at a nightclub. The pastor couldn't get one day in the headlines, man. God damn it. This should be crazy, man. Every night, and this one city, man. This is one city. Shooting at a nightclub.
Multiple people are recovering after an overnight shooting at a Westwood nightclub. Memphis police say the shooting happened at Lucille's Blues and Diner. That's on South 3rd.
That's right. It's its latest shooting at that club in just a few months. WREG's Quimitra Wilborn spoke to the club's owner and says that she is now working on a plan to make sure that something like this does not happen again.
It's mind-blowing because people just want to enjoy themselves.
Stacy Richards says Lucille's Blues and Diner on South 3rd Street has been a part of her family for decades. That's why she's fighting to keep the business open after tragedy struck early Thursday morning.
Lucille's has been here entirely too long for
you to never have fixed that fucking sign. Like, come on, man. If you go to a club and that's the sign, man, somebody is going to get shot. Hell yeah. Look at that sign, man. It looked like they don't even care about the place, man. God damn it, man.
To keep the business open after tragedy struck early Thursday morning.
Lucille's has been here entirely too long for some young people to run us off, and I'm not going to let that happen.
Memphis police say just before 4 a.m., they responded to a shooting on the property. What officers found was a parking lot that had been turned into a war zone. WREG counted at least 90 evidence markers scattered throughout the parking lot. 2 people were taken to the hospital with gunshot wounds. A third person was also taken to the hospital due to a medical condition.
My prayers go out to them.
Richard says a fight broke out inside the club, but she immediately had security remove everyone involved.
Once they was escorted to their cars, they went to their cars and got the guns. No one came into Lucille's with a gun.
Memphis police say this isn't the first time a large police presence converged at the club. Back in December, court documents say 2 security guards were shot outside the club after denying a man entry. However, in a turn of events, both security guards were arrested because one was a convicted felon and the other was using a stolen gun. Documents say 2 security guards were shot outside the club. Back in December, court documents say 2 security guards were shot outside the club after denying a man entry. However, in a turn of events, both security guards were arrested because one was a convicted felon and the other was using a stolen gun. Back in December, court documents say 2 security guards were shot outside the club after denying a man entry. However, in a turn of events, both security guards were arrested because one was a convicted felon and the other was using a stolen gun. Richard says she wasn't aware of their status because they were contracted through a security company. She says this time she made sure not to make the same mistake with her new security guards.
They all licensed. I have their credentials and everything.
It's unclear if security opened fire during this latest incident. A police report says witnesses told officers they believed security used their weapons, but MPD says there was no security on the scene when they got there. As for Richards, she says she's going to make changes to prevent this from happening again, which may include going up on the age limit. Right now, patrons only have to be at least 21 to enter.
What do you think you go up to?
35. I mean,
hey, the sad part is you still gonna have trouble, but not as much trouble. 35 is a good age. you're gonna have some trouble now. But it's going to greatly decrease, man.
I mean, at least the 35 and older have something to lose. These young folks don't have nothing to lose.
Reporting for your news leader from Westwood, Quimitra Wilborn.
Which is not true. They have their lives to lose, their futures to lose. They have a lot to lose. But in the Negro mind, she's right in the Negro mind, but she's wrong in the normal mind. Press 1.
35. I mean, at least the 35 and older have something to lose. These young folks don't have nothing to lose.
Reporting for your news leader from Westwood, Quimitra Wilborn, WREG News, Channel 3.
Possibly 35 and up. So no arrests have been made at this time, but police say they are looking for a black Chevy Suburban that may have been involved.
In an updated crime alert, Memphis police releasing pictures of the alleged vehicle. They say it's connected to Sunday's double shooting in Orange Mound. Officers say the dark-colored Chevy Camaro, pictured here, was seen parking at a convenience store off Park Avenue. They say the suspect was seen rolling down the window and began firing shots from an alleged automatic weapon. Then was last seen leaving the scene, going towards Airways. Police say one victim was taken to the hospital on scene in critical condition, while a second one showed up to the hospital later in critical condition as well. The Camaro used in the shooting was recovered a day later at the Coves at Yale Apartments. No suspect information is available at this time. If you know anything, please call Crime Stoppers at 528-CASH.
You can
Real in the field. What you can't have now, leave and you will. These Democrat cities are crazy, man. Whew.
There's still a lot of mystery tonight around what landed 4 West Memphis police officers off the job, facing a state investigation into sexual misconduct and intimidation. But some of those not surprised by the suspensions are people who filed complaints years ago. WREG investigator April Thompson has been talking with those victims who say if someone had taken action, this could have been avoided.
A cloud over the West Memphis Police Department as 4 top officers are sidelined as the state looks into their conduct. Major Stacy Allen, Captain Mose Walker, and Ivora Hall, and Officer Treasure Gaither on administrative leave as an investigation into sexual misconduct and intimidation gets underway. At the West Memphis Police Department, no one was available to comment about the investigation.
We were hoping we could talk with the police chief or the assistant chief.
But at least one of the officers, Major Stacy Allen, has been investigated before for pretty much the same type of claims. In 2001, WREG talked to several women who claimed they suffered harassment, discrimination, and retaliation at the hands of Allen.
After these latest allegations, we did reach back out to those women, one of them telling us she is not surprised by this latest news.
It's extremely disheartening to hear that even more is going on.
She says this latest case is similar to the one she and others made years ago.
Almost like an abuse of authority. He was extremely verbally abusive. He was putting his hands on other officers and dispatchers. I witnessed that. As far as him actually putting his hands on someone in an aggressive manner. He threatened to break one's wrist because she refused to make him coffee.
West Memphis Mayor Marco McClendon confirmed with WREG-TV the city did not push this investigation. It is coming from the state.
Mayor Pendergrass, man. He lost some weight, man. This man used to be chunky a couple years ago, man. I'm just glad he not involved in nothing, man. He done made it a long time with no allegations. Shout out to Big Larry in the building. Salute to Pamela Anderson. Let you hear him talk.
State, but allegations about Allen came to the mayor before.
We had a separate investigator to come in and look at the information, and we followed to a T all of the suggestions that she gave us to try to handle this. Now, when they come back up in this same investigation again, that do raise a red flag, and something we're going to definitely have to pay closer attention to make sure that we didn't make a mistake on this call.
The recommendations that were given with, grounds for termination, and he did not follow that in any way, shape, or form.
McClendon says he plans to get with his chief to find out more.
Stacey Allen needs to be terminated, and he needs to have his accreditations taken away where he is no longer able to go to any police department and be in law enforcement. He has abused his oath as a law enforcement officer. He's been in trouble.
Investigating for your news leader in West Memphis, April Thompson, WREG News.
Give me another Democrat city, man. Give me another Democrat city, man. We doing the Democrats tonight, man. Hit the like button, man. Support the channel via PayPal, Cash App, Super Chat. We trying to run it up, man. Trying to get every like we can and all the support we can. Man said, Jafrica. Jafrica. That's some drums playing.
Precinct 4, Officer Jaguar Wander. He's known for putting people behind bars for their mistakes and mishaps. Turns out after this incident, he may be the one who's facing jail time.
We at the Jackson Police Department take domestic violence very seriously. Very seriously. Our job is to uphold the law, enforce the law, but we are not above the law.
This is Jaguar Wander. He's being charged with fleeing the scene, domestic violence, and aggravated assault after a wreck he's accused of causing on Bona Vista and Robinson Street.
He is expected in court this morning on this felony charge, and he will be held accountable for his actions on last night.
Chief Wade let us know he had no prior history or reports of use of excessive force.
I'm not aware of any disciplinary action issues that he has had. Now, just to put a peg there, he was off duty. He was not in uniform. He was not in his JPD vehicle. He was off duty in his personal vehicle.
Sarah Bradley is the program director at Catholic Charities. She has seen situations like this one too many times.
Please know that there's somewhere out there that you can go for help. Please don't stay. Most of the time, I know individuals love the person, but is it worth your life, your children's life? Please get out. There is help.
As far as the officer responsible, pending an investigation of this case.
Hold him accountable just like the community holds me accountable.
Wander has been placed on.
Hey, man, he seemed like a stand-up police chief, man. A stand-up melanated police chief, man. Shout out to this police chief, man.
On administrative leave until he leaves the jail. The investigation is still open and running. His bond is at $1 million. And look at your screen. I just want to read a number to you. If you or someone that you know is in a domestic violence situation,
Oh.
Three men are in custody accused of trying to smuggle contraband into the Raymond Detention Center. Hinds County Sheriff Tyree Jones says deputies found phones, a variety of drugs, and tobacco in a wooded area near the jail. Deputies tried to stop a suspicious vehicle nearby. That led them on a chase, which ended.
Quinvarious Timms. Yeah, no, man. Quinvarious.
With Johnny Donaldson, Quinvarious Timms, and Jalen Gray arrested. Deputies also found 2 guns in the car, one of which had been reported stolen out of Jackson.
And Quinvarious Timms, man.
Cartoon fans had the chance to meet some of their favorite characters over the weekend. The Mississippi Anime Fest 2-day event kicking off today over at the Trademark. Different guests are in attendance, including Christina V and Bryce Papenbrook. There are also different vendors and fan groups there, and organizers say Jackson really is one of their favorite locations to host this type of festival.
Mississippi's just, it's home. It's where my heart is. The celebrities that we bring in from all across the United States and the world always compliment the people of Jackson and Mississippi about how nice everyone is and how much of a great time they have.
The event starts back up tomorrow. General admission is $30.
All right, niggas, act right, niggas. Act right, man. Don't embarrass us down that motherfucker. Don't embarrass us, niggas.
The second annual Jackson Food and Wine Festival will be happening this weekend, but not outdoors. Festival director Amanda Fitzgerald says they're moving the event inside to the Jackson Convention Center in order to keep everyone safe and dry. Now, during Saturday's weather, the initial plan was to hold it outside the nearby Mississippi Museum of Art.
Unfortunately, with the inclement weather and the thunderstorms that are predicted, we have moved the location over to the Jackson Convention Complex, and it'll be indoors now. And that way, during setup, everything will stay dry. And then hopefully, actually, as guests are arriving, they'll be dry upon their arrival and then get to have a great time because everything will be the same.
Tickets are sold out for Saturday, but still available for Friday evening. The festival.
Yeah, I like that. Tickets, man. Nigga, you gotta pay to get in here, man. That'll keep a lot of the riffraff out, man. They having some nice stuff in Jaffrika, man. They having some nice events in Jaffrika, man. Go ahead, Jaffrika.
First, we're going to start things off with Izzy Carnes. She is from Ellisville and was recently crowned Miss Teen Volunteer America. That's almost too much for me to keep up with right there. Miss Teen Volunteer America. But you were Miss Teen Volunteer Mississippi.
Yes,
Before
sir.
that. So you went to the pageant and you were crowned the one for America. First of all, tell me what it's like to go to a big pageant like that and then you be the one that everybody hates when it's all over with because you won.
Well, actually, the atmosphere is really great. All
I'm
of
sure
the
it
girls
is,
are so incredible. And so there's that negative stereotype, but it really is such an incredible environment. It was so much fun. You know, we competed in prelims for 2 nights. And then by
Wow, you got that down there. You got that down there in Africa, man. Yeah, he's in Mississippi not burning. Mississippi snowing. Man, Africa, man. Africa is cleaning itself up, man.
Then by finals night, we had all become best friends, and really any of us could have done the job. So for me to be chosen for that honor, it's just so huge, and I'm so proud and excited for the year that's to come.
Oh yeah, that's neat. Where was the big competition, the main one?
Yeah, it's in Jackson, Tennessee.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
so
sir.
you went all the way to Jackson.
Yes,
From Jackson to Jackson.
Jackson to Jackson.
Well, that's neat. Tell me about this the title, Miss Volunteer USA. What is that?
So this is a relatively new organization. This is about the 5th year of it happening, and it's a scholarship organization, and it's in our name. It's all about volunteerism. And so I am actually now the national brand ambassador for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital and the Salvation Army this year. So that's what my year is going to kind of look like. I get to spend a lot of time pouring into those 2 organizations and promoting volunteerism with them.
Is this something that was a
Wow. What an impressive young lady. Volunteering with St. Jude's and the Salvation Army, man. That's what's up, man. That's what's up, man. Nice young lady, man.
Now to an update, 2 suspects have been arrested after a deadly shooting. Vicksburg police say Javian Shannon and Tyler Terry were captured 4 hours after the incident. The shooting happened Wednesday near Jefferson and Locust Street. A 19-year-old was killed and 2 others injured.
All right. Okay. Let's see what else is going on in Africa, man.
Welcome back to Live at 9 Curse Studios, because we love clothing companies here. Guys, how'd you guys make this? Because this is really neat. I love the logo, and we'll show this off a little bit. How'd you guys come up with the idea of Curse Studios?
Okay, so originally he had a brand, right? This was when we first got out of high school, but I wasn't into.
First of all, I just say Curse Studio. There's nothing like great about that logo, man. Come on, white man. You don't have to pander to us, man. There's nothing great about that logo, man. That's a generic logo, man.
Yeah, Curse Studios.
Okay, so originally he had a brand, right? This was when we first got out of high school, but I wasn't into it at first. So then he seen me trying to get into it, so he just decided to combine the 2. And we always, been cool for 10 plus years, so we just combined it together and created this.
So a lot of people have clothing companies. How'd you come up with the design?
Me personally, I was a graphic design major at Jackson State, so I know how to work with the iPad, Procreate a little bit. So it's really just up here, really.
Yeah, and how do you come up with your ideas? Because I know you got to keep thinking, because trends, they move faster than Usain Bolt.
Yeah. Exactly. So what's going on now around the world, like people our age, a lot of people starting to have brands around the world. So you're going to pick up on different things from this brand, this brand, this brand. It might be 20% of our idea, but 80% that we got from all other brands, put it to one. You got to take advantage of trends. That's how you sell them, because they're trending for a reason,
And how has the reception been? You guys are from this metro area.
Yes, sir. Locally, it's it's real good. Like they support us a lot. We're starting to branch out more into really everywhere. Like we get orders. I got an order from Kuwait.
Really interesting. How tough is it to start a brand? Because people think sometimes you just, here it is, here's the brand. It's like, no, it's really tough to get people to actually say, hey, here's some dollars, or, you know, obviously it's more than that, but, you know, here's some money to buy my stuff. It's not that easy.
Yeah, it's not. We're starting off, you know, it doesn't do what you expect it to do. So you just.
All right, them some young brothers, man, doing something in Jackson, man. Shout out to them, man. Salute to them, man. Salute to them, man. We not gonna we not gonna put them brothers down, man. They could be out here killing each other, man. Give me another Democrat city, man.
Jackson police have also named a suspect wanted for the shooting death of a 15-year-old. According to Detective Tommy Brown, and Travion Kinsey is wanted for the murder of LaNicholas Harrell and will be.
And Travion Kinsey is wanted for the murder of LaNicholas. Couldn't just be Nicholas. They had the name of LaNicholas.
Nicholas Harrell is wanted for the murder of LaNicholas Harrell. Travion Kinsey is wanted, and Travion Kinsey, and Travion Kinsey, and Travion Kinsey.
And Travion Kinsey killed Nicholas Harrell. LaNicholas Harrell.
And Travion Kinsey is wanted for the murder of LaNicholas Harrell and will be charged with capital murder. Police say Harrell's body was found on Shan Street in February. He was reported as a runaway the day before his death.
Ugh. Give me another shout out to Solid Snake, man. Yikes. Pause, man. Pause, man. Much love to Solid Snake. Man, say New Orleans. New Orleans, man. New Orleans.
Parker, well, the Irish Channel St. Patrick's Day Parade gets postponed due to the threat of severe weather this Saturday. Olivia Vidal explains the change and how you can still celebrate St. Patrick's Day all weekend long.
Hey, yeah, that's right. It's never easy postponing a parade or changing plans, especially for something as popular as the Irish Channel St. Patrick's Day Parade. But it's a decision the organizers had to make, a tough one, no doubt, all out of the name of safety for the folks who are in the parade and those who come out to catch it. So the question now is, when will the Irish Channel St. Patrick's Day Parade be rescheduled? Those details are still being worked out. Parade organizers are hoping to meet with the city to talk about which dates would be best to reschedule this parade. In the meantime, though, things are still taking place this weekend for St. Patrick's Day.
I don't know why that's so fun. Watching those things go by, trying to get somebody to throw you something like a fucking seal or something. People love doing that. I did that when I went to Mardi Gras. That shit was fun. You like, ooh, throw it over here. Trying to catch something and shit. They turn you into a fucking seal. So shout out to Deluxe 247, aka Cal Ripken, aka the real MVP, coming through once again.
The Mass is still on for 11:45 at St. Mary's Assumption on Saturday. And the big block party benefiting St. Michael's Special School on St. Patrick's Day, which is Monday, is still on from 10 to 5 p.m. at Annunciation
Nice looking crowd, man.
Square.
Safety first for not only our participants, but for the people to come out and see the parade.
We're going to still be rolling with the green beer. We're going to still continue the party. We'll just.
Okay. So, yeah, good shit, man. Minnesota. I mean, New Orleans. Let's see what else is going on down here in New Orleans.
Is dead and a suspect is in custody following a fatal shooting this morning in Raceland. The Lafourche Parish Sheriff's Office says that 19-year-old Cody Cherami, and he's actually booked on second-degree murder charges. Around 11:15, deputies responded to the 200 block of Wilson Street and found 46-year-old Chad Ingram suffering from multiple gunshot wounds. He was later pronounced dead at the hospital. And investigators say Cherami and Ingram were involved in an argument before Cherami opened fire on Ingram. Cherami was arrested at the scene.
Hey, shout out to Gliders getting it cracking down there in New Orleans, man.
New Orleans City Council members say they want to know who paid for Mayor Cantrell's recent trip to Washington, D.C. Chris Joseph reports Cantrell traveled to Yale's Mayor's College Conference during a ban on all non-essential city-funded travel.
So the ban prevents elected leaders and employees from traveling on the clock, and it specifies they can't use city funds to go to conferences. We have asked.
Now the reason they did that ban because this sister mayor down here in New Orleans, she was globe-trotting. She was going to Japan, Switzerland, Australia. She was everywhere. And they couldn't figure out why she was doing that much traveling. Why she was going all these damn places. So they tried to, cut it back. But she gonna travel, man. This sister like, fuck that, man. I'm the mayor, man. I became the mayor. This was a goal of mine, man. So I can travel, man. Fuck the city. I became the mayor so I could travel around the country. World.
Leaders and employees from traveling on the clock, and it specifies they can't use city funds to go to conferences. We have asked the mayor's office multiple times who paid for the trip. The office hasn't given an answer. On Monday, the office did release a statement saying the city would, quote, not incur a cost for the mayor's participation and attendance at the conference. Now, Cantrell's press team has not answered our questions about who's paying for the travel, food, lodging, and security at the conference. The council unanimously voted for the ban in February after Cantrell's administration backed out of a $90 million deal with New Orleans Public Schools. Her administration argued the city could not afford the deal. Now, council members J.P. Morrell and Eugene Green say they want answers on if Cantrell used city money for this trip.
And because you brought it up as an issue and you brought it up yesterday, I will look to determine who paid for the travel.
Who paid for the trip, what the reimbursements were, what the outlines were as far as what was going to be paid for, as well as if anybody else accompanied the mayor, and we haven't gotten any of the information yet. I believe that giving 24 to 48 hours is appropriate to get the information. If we don't get the information within that time period, we will determine what the next steps are.
Now, Morrell released a scathing letter yesterday addressed to Chief Administrative Officer Gilbert Montano and Chief Financial Officer Romy Samuel, calling the trip patently unlawful. He asked for details on the trip and for them to withhold any city funds that may have paid for the trip. The full council has a meeting on Thursday.
Shout out to Bruce.
Have you ever moved and forgotten to change the address?
Shout out to Bruce, man.
New Orleans.
Supporting the channel, man. Salute to you, man. These black men is always in fucking trouble, man. For something, man. Jesus Christ. Can't y'all stay out of trouble? Eee. I can't stay out of trouble for nothing. Oh man, yeah, white, yeah, gliders. You ain't off the hook.
Some more breaking news, this time from the North Shore. A Slidell man convicted in a child cruelty case will spend 2 years behind bars. John Raymond was the pastor of New Horizons Church and the headmaster at Lakeside Christian Academy. Raymond taped 5 students' mouths shut as a means of disciplinary action. A judge sentencing him to 5 years, but that judge suspended 3. That means he'll also do 3 years active probation when he's done with his 2-year jail term.
He taped 5 students' mouth shut. That's it. That's it, man. That was back in the day. That wouldn't have been no big deal, man. Take their mouth shut. That wouldn't have been no big deal, man. But now, man, brother, you got 2 years for that. Damn, they ain't playing with the white dudes, man. Give me another city. Give me another Democratic city, man. We go through here, man. Catch up on this news. We ain't been doing pick a city in a long time, man. We got a lot to catch up on, man. Norfolk. Man, say Norfolk. Yeesh. Yeesh. Okay. So we got all right, man.
Tonight, a suspect in Newport News is still at large following a bank robbery. The crime happened Friday on Jefferson Avenue at a Langley Federal Credit Union in a busy part of the city. 10 on your side's Markeisha Jackson has the latest on what we know.
Police say a man walked inside of this Langley Federal Credit Union, approached a counter, displayed a firearm, and then passed a bag to the teller and left on foot with cash. The entire ordeal leaving customers in nearby businesses shocked. A robbery on a busy street in Newport News.
I was shocked to be a busy area right here on the strip that somebody come and rob the place. I was surprised as I don't know what.
That's how one Langley customer says she felt when she heard the news about what happened. Newport News police say this suspect, described as a black male, entered the bank Friday afternoon. He then approached the counter and displayed a firearm before passing a bag to the teller.
That's something that's scary.
The suspect left the business on foot with an undisclosed amount of money, heading north on Jefferson Avenue. He was last seen heading east toward Patrick Henry Drive. Kavini Johnson works at the Gentleman's Clothing store directly across the street from the bank, and he says bank robberies in this area are starting to become more common.
Maybe they just feel like it's a soft target.
He says he's confident police will find out who is responsible for Friday's robbery, and he hopes it can ease the anxiousness that nearby businesses are feeling.
You know, if you see something, say something. It takes a team to make our community better.
And it could have been one of them. And hopefully they got cameras in front of their buildings and stuff that could find out where the perpetrator, which way they went, any direction, you know.
Go ahead, sister, man. Shout out to this sister, man, for being, engaged in her community, man. Putting her face on it, man. She tired of this shit, man. I'm tired too, sister.
Now where the perpetrator, which way they went, any direction, so they could be caught because anybody's at risk.
Newport News police are continuing to investigate while local businesses and residents remain vigilant. If you know anything about this crime, you are urged to call.
After a string of recent shootings, Portsmouth City Council members met for their yearly city retreat in Newport News today. Police Chief Stephen Jenkins provided an update on the city's crime, and he also talked about what the department is doing to help with retention. 10 on Your Side's Madison Pierman has the story.
Today was day 2 of the Portsmouth City Council retreat in Newport News. Police Chief Stephen Jenkins was there delivering an update on crime as well as retention in his department.
So wanted to make sure that they knew that it was important that we had their support as we look to continue to address our issues.
Beyond retention, Jenkins also touched on new technology. The department.
Look at that janky ass. Look at that janky ass police car, man. That shit look hurt, man. That look like it's at the auction or something. It looked like you could buy that car at the auction for like $4,500, man. God damn, no hubcaps on the police car. The paint is all fucking faded. You got big issues down there, Black Police Chief.
Touched on new technology the department is using.
We've invested in license plate readers.
New technology? How about new technology? I got a new technology. It's called hubcaps. You put it on the fucking wheel, man, and it covers up the goddamn bolts.
Jenkins also touched on new technology the department is using.
We've invested in license plate readers, gunshot detection throughout the city, and also expanding our allocation of cameras throughout the city.
Chief Jenkins says community is crucial when it comes to fighting, solving, and preventing crime.
Our community has stepped up. We've put forth some initiatives in the way of our Portsmouth United, which galvanizes all of our resources.
Portsmouth United is a community-based violence intervention and prevention initiative that brings stakeholders together in the community to sustain long-term change. Programs like Portsmouth United plus retention in the department is exactly what Chief Jenkins says the city of Portsmouth needs now.
And we're starting to see some good fruits from that. No time to celebrate, but definitely some time to continue to focus on what the issues are and look for ways and strategies to address them.
Madison Pierce.
We begin with a smash and grab job in Portsmouth that may not be the kind you're used to. Thanks for joining us. I'm Tom Shad. Take a look at this. Someone used brute force to yank an ATM right out of the wall. You can see the crime scene tape there. It's at the Wells Fargo on Portsmouth Boulevard in Elmhurst.
Salute to Daddy, man. He said, if you see the cops, Warner Brother. Subscribe. Boy Kachina, man, says, get outside for a live reporting on the blood moon and explain that eclipse happening on it in an hour. Shout out to you and the nation. Yeah, man, I keep my ass in the house at night. I'm a family, man. I be where I'm supposed to be at, man. I'm supposed to be in here with these kids, man, and my wife, man. I ain't supposed to be out in the streets, man. That ain't for me, man. I did plenty. I did my time. But salute to you, boy, Katina. Maybe you can come in and tell us about the blood moon, man.
Elmhurst Lane. 10 of your side's Madison Pierman is following the investigation. She joins us live with what we know tonight. Madison?
Good evening, Tom. Kind of something out of a movie scene here. Like you described, somebody had attached the ATM behind me to the back of a vehicle and then tried to pull away, leaving this gaping hole in the side of Wells Fargo. Sunday morning in Portsmouth at the corner of Portsmouth Boulevard and Elmhurst Lane was reportedly a busy one, according to nearby businesses. They tell 10 on your side someone attempted a different kind of bank heist. A driver allegedly hooked up the Wells Fargo ATM to the back of a vehicle with a chain and tried to drive off with it.
I didn't hear anything about it. I live pretty close, but you see crazy stuff all the time. Honestly speaking, I mean, crime happens anywhere, you know.
Brandon Martin says he wasn't fazed by the news. Employees at a nearby gas station say it sounds like no one was hurt. And Martin tells us that's a relief.
I don't know. I mean, you know, that seems like a less scary crime, more excitable than like, you know.
I can look out the window. Only problem is I'm in the basement, man. I'm in the basement, man. Well, maybe somebody is doing a video on it. We'll do a video on the blood moon, man. Somebody's probably did a video. Maybe check out the blood moon, man. I'll check it out for you.
Like, you know, something bad happens, you know, somebody breaks in your house.
Although there are houses next door to the Wells Fargo, 10 on your side didn't see any damage to anything besides the large hole left by the once was ATM machine spot. Just above the spot, a large surveillance camera, one of about a dozen nearby, combined with other businesses and homes. Between those and witnesses to the brazen crime, Martin's hopeful police will catch the person responsible.
Yeah, I mean, it sucks. I hate it for the bank, but, you know, I'm sure they'll catch the guy. I mean, if they didn't catch it on camera already, it's probably on America's Top Funniest Videos or something like that anyway.
So, man, hey, man, give me another Democratic city, man. Give me another Democratic city, man. Yeah, salute to you, boy, Katina. Yeah, man. Chicago. Chicago, man. What's cracking in Chicago? Let's see.
A man was shot today near a CTA bus stopped on the south side.
WGN's Angelica Sanchez joining us now with the latest on this developing story. Angelica.
Ray and Micah, tonight there are more questions than answers into what led to this shooting. Neighbors we spoke with are calling this a senseless act of violence.
If we continue to put these guns and stuff out here, we're going to lose.
Those who live near the intersection of East 79th Street and South
stuff out here, we're going to lose.
Those who live near the intersection of East 79th Street and South Drexel Avenue in the city's Chatham neighborhood are taken back by the shooting of a passenger boarding a CTA bus.
Person shot on a CTA bus, 79th and Drexel.
The shooting unfolded around 1 p.m. According to Chicago fire officials, the victim was boarding a CTA bus in the area when they were shot in the back by an unknown individual. An official from the Chicago Transit Authority says a preliminary report indicates the shooting from the Chicago Transit Authority says a preliminary report indicates the shooting did not unfold on the bus, but just outside as the victim prepared to board.
He was shot while he was getting on the bus, shot in his upper right chest area. Fire's en route.
The partition inside the bus was shattered while shell casings lay on the sidewalk just outside the bus door.
That scares people to want to get on public transportation. Simply. It's sad. Why?
Skycam 9 was over the scene when caution tape blocked off the north end of the intersection. Neighbors like Marcus Robinson are encouraging anyone struggling or involved in conflicts to look into resources in their communities.
We have to keep putting our feet on the ground and helping and talking to these brothers because we don't have a choice.
An update on the victim's condition is unknown. It's also unknown whether or not police have been able to make any arrests. Live outside police headquarters.
Chicago police releasing photos of 4 young men allegedly involved in Sunday's shooting in Streeterville. A woman shot in the arm as she walked on North Columbus Drive around 8 p.m. She's reportedly in good condition. CTA security cameras captured these photos, but it's not clear if they're from the same day as the incident. Anyone with information is asked to call police.
Good evening. Thanks so much for joining.
Chicago police.
Good morning, guys. You know that somebody is a regular at a coffee shop when they show up with their own mug. Except she's British, so I'm not talking to her today because this is an Irish bakery, and you brought the Brit, Mary?
Well, we do.
What are you gonna do?
We're very open-minded.
You are very open-minded.
I'm tired of these niggas, man. I want to see what white people are doing. I want to see what white people are doing in some of these cities, man. Because these cities, all these cities where all this shit is happening, all this crime and shooting, broad daylight shootings, motherfuckers snatching ATMs out the side of the bank in broad daylight. Where all that's happening in all those cities, you have places where white people live where you wouldn't even know. You would think you were a million miles away. You could go drive 5 minutes to a white neighborhood and you would think you were a million miles away. None of that shit is happening.
Open-minded. Are we ready for St. Patrick's Day?
Absolutely. Can't wait.
I noticed that your Auto Kelly's having their amazing scones. You said I chose the right place today.
You did. This is a wonderful place. A marvelous addition to the neighborhood.
I love it. Mary, what are we doing this weekend? Are we drinking? What are we doing?
Yes, we are.
For real?
Well, maybe a sip or two.
Maybe a sip or two. Like all weekend or just on Monday?
And most of the weekend.
Oh my gosh, Robin, these Southsiders are hardcore. You had the sausage, what is it, roll?
Sausage roll.
How's it treating you?
They're pretty damn good. They're
Yeah, they are.
I don't know if it's blood sausage.
Can you explain this? Are you Irish?
I am.
Can you explain this to me, the brown sauce?
I've never had it.
I think you're better off.
I would rather have the hot sauce, maybe.
The hot sauce. All right. And I love that all their products are perfectly named. That's a brown sauce.
Yes,
it is what it is. We're at O'Kelly's. It opened about a year ago, and they have music every weekend with this fabulous band that has joined us this morning. And I wanted to talk to Bob, who's one of the owners of O'Kelly's here on 91st and Western. Robin, I've been yelling at people today, and they say I sound like a South Sider because I was like, Bob! Mary!
Wow. That's the same fucking city. That's the same fucking city.
Breaking news right now at 10. Newly released body cam video of a deadly police shooting in North Lawndale last month.
We paused that video before the suspect is shot. A warning for many of you. Some of the content may be considered disturbing.
He's going southbound, walking slowly. The rail flag bending his hand, guys, so use caution, please.
Okay, so let's explain what you're seeing tonight from the Civilian Office of Police Accountability, or COPA. Officers responding to a burglary in progress just before 11 a.m. This was on February 2nd at the 1800 block of South Central Park Avenue. CPD says they chased the suspect on foot from a building when the man opened fire. Officers returned gunshots, fatally striking him. Police say a weapon was recovered at the scene. No officers were injured.
And they gotta fucking have some
news.
A bunch of fucking brain dead niggas review every shooting in this city. A bunch of brain dead niggas reviewing the shooting to see if the cops did the right thing. This is so fucked up.
It's 30.
It's so fucked up, man. That's so fucked up, man. I swear to God, man. It's so fucked up that they got that shit. I hate that shit. I hate that they have that shit. I hate you niggas, man. Reviewing these cops' cases. You don't know what the fuck they have to go through every fucking day on the streets. Blood moon.
Set your alarms or stay up late tonight if you want to see a rare celestial event. The first lunar eclipse in more than 2 years will turn the moon a stunning shade of red. That's right, it's a blood moon. So this morning, we asked an astronomer at Adler Planetarium for advice on seeing this.
The great thing about lunar eclipses is you don't need to be somewhere where the skies are particularly dark. Anywhere you can see the moon, you can see these eclipses. So even from right here in our city with all the light pollution, you're still going to be able to see this show.
It starts right there, Terrence. See that? It starts at 10:57.
10:57.
That's good. Will you be awake?
Probably.
Yeah, take a look outside. And totality will be from 1:26 a.m., which you might be awake. I will not.
I'll still be up.
And that's going to last till 2:31 a.m. It is safe to watch with the naked eye, no special glasses needed. But Mark, I was just telling T, it seems like these rare lunar eclipses are happening so often anymore.
These are not as rare as the solar eclipses.
Yeah.
Like you said.
It starts in a few minutes, man.
Yeah, his exact words to people thinking about coming to party are, quote, "I'm being really honest with you. No one wants you here." So he's being really frank about people that are heading to the area. But this beach is going to be packed because more local school districts are out at the same time than usual. And then pair that with all the out-of-towners. So law enforcement is expected to be busy. And they say that people will unfortunately end up in handcuffs.
He was just walking with a twisted T. But he, when I stopped him, he kept wanting to be evasive. Didn't want to, I'll just get rid of it. And I could tell at that point he was under 21. So not the crime of the century, but we'll address it.
The spring break stories were endless, riding along with Volusia County Sheriff's Office Deputy Jake Bissonette. Spring breakers are starting to trickle in and people are already getting busted. This 22-year-old was caught with a Michelob Ultra and alcohol isn't allowed on the beach.
He's going to get a citation for open container. It's a payable citation. He's going to take care of it online. He's from out of state.
Last year, the department made 52 arrests and wrote 200 citations. But it's not just drinking that has the Volusia County Sheriff worried.
Because don't forget, just because it's spring break, you're going to have nefarious adults that are going to come down here, as we saw last spring break and we saw in President.
Sir, we already know who causes the problems in spring break, man. We already know what the problem is in spring break. Give me another city, man. Another Democrat city, man. Let me drop the link, man. Give me another city, man. I don't know how we got down to Florida. Let's see, man. Support the channel. Support the channel via PayPal, Cash App, or Super Chat, man. Sponsor the show, man. Sponsor the show. Bring you this coast to coast news, man. So you can know what's going on in your world. My. Miami.
Tonight, a South Florida jeweler ambushed and robbed.
His family held at gunpoint for hours as masked men ransacked his home. Local 10's Cody Weddle is live in Southwest Miami-Dade with the terrifying details. Cody.
And Calvin and Janice, this man believes that these armed robbers may have been able to track him down using his social media accounts. Online, he's made a name for himself by showing off his flashy jewelry, racking up over 120,000 followers on TikTok. The bling includes items like these gold bangles and sparkling gems. And York Valdez thinks one of those followers may be among the 3 people who ransacked his home on Wednesday night, holding his young daughter and pregnant wife at gunpoint.
I'm in the second floor for 5 hours. They stole all my jewelry, my watches.
It was around midnight when Valdez says he was in the front yard of his house on Southwest 130th Avenue when 3 armed, masked men forced him inside.
What did they say to you when they got here?
So much, I don't remember. Shut up, sit down.
They gathered the rest of the family, took them into a room. One of them held him at gunpoint, held the family at gunpoint, and the other 2 ransacked the rest of the house.
Neighbors heard the commotion and saw the men.
It was a scream. It was like, oh my God. And then it went quiet and we heard dogs barking last night.
Lamentablemente, ayer fuimos secuestrados.
Valdez already posting about the ordeal online. He says the men held his family for 5 hours.
They're thinking that I have money in my house, and it's the first time that I bring some expensive watches to my house. I never bring the watch. I always put it in my safe box.
And so Valdez says that when these men were leaving, they drove away in his white Cadillac, stealing that as well. So 305-471-TIPS is the number for Miami-Dade Crime Stoppers. If you have any information.
That's actually good. Because now the police can catch him. Police can catch him. That's good that they took his car. Because they're going to get caught in his car.
Learning more details today about a road rage incident that escalated into a shooting. 2 men are now behind bars after police say that they both pulled out guns after an argument. NBC6 reporter Christian Colon reports.
Surveillance video shows the moment 2 men confront each other after police say they were arguing on the road.
Weapon improper exhibition and attempted battery on March 10th.
The aggression escalated from their cars to a Chevron gas station near Northwest 67th Avenue.
Off, and that's when the police officer took control of the situation.
This witness heard about 2 shots. Luckily, he says a Miami-Dade deputy was close by.
Yo, what up, Bob? Anybody there?
Damn, what the fuck happened there? It looked like this dude popped the nigga, didn't it? Didn't it look like he popped the son, man?
I couldn't really tell.
That damn Ombrito ain't playing, man.
Manuel Valera and Altwin Martin both parked to argue and pulled out their guns.
An unlawful discharge of a firearm in a public place.
Amid the bickering at the gas station, police say Martin tried hitting Valera. The 61-year-old then took out his gun, and Martin ran to get his.
Coincidentally, at the right point in time, the police was approaching the red light. At that point in time, I tried to lower my window to get his attention. The second gunshot goes off, and that's when the police officer took control of the situation.
This witness heard about 2 shots. Luckily, he says a Miami-Dade deputy was close by and stepped in.
Immediately, he took action. He got out of his vehicle. He went over to them. He held them at gunpoint until other deputies were able to arrive, and they took both subjects into custody.
Prosecutors say Valera, who they believe was the shooter, did not have any legal justification to initially pull out his gun. And today, those 2 men were granted a bond and could.
Now, here's the thing. They say the son man tried to hit him. The son man looks like he's probably about half his age. So if a man half your age tries to hit you, you're 61 years old, you don't have a probable cause to pull out your gun?
You don't?
That's what they saying.
I don't know. Some man fuck around and kill you with one punch.
But the son man had a gun too. He pulled out his gun too. They both had their guns out.
Right. Well, they said that the son man had to run to get his.
Video shows the moment 2 men confront each other after police say they were arguing. Surveillance video shows the.
That's what he says. He's got
Surveillance video shows the moment 2 men confront each other after police say they were arguing on the road.
Weapon improper exhibition and attempted battery on March 10th.
The aggression escalated from their cars to a Chevron gas station near Northwest 67th.
Yeah, what he's doing is that he's an asshole. You see all these cars passing, he's just firing indiscriminately.
Yeah,
he deserves to go to jail for that. Just for that, like. Yeah, that old guy's an asshole.
Yeah, that's crash out.
Yeah, fuck it. Yeah, he's an asshole. So
can't believe he's that old doing dumbass shit like that.
Right.
Was close by and stepped in.
Immediately, he took action. He got out of his vehicle. He went over to them. He held them at gunpoint until other deputies were able to arrive, and they took both subjects into custody.
Prosecutors say Valera, who they believe was the shooter, did not have any legal justification to initially pull out his gun. And today, those two men were granted a bond and could get out of jail. However, a judge ordered for them to stay away from each other. In Miami, Christian Colon, NBC6 News.
Well, more than a dozen family-owned restaurants scammed out of thousands of dollars. But tonight, two Miami-Dade County inspectors accused of extorting them in exchange for cash are off the street.
And as Jamie Garola tells us, authorities believe that there may be other innocent restaurants that have fallen victim to the scheme.
It's called Operation Grease Trap and it led to the arrest of these two men, Craig Bethel and Charles Bryant. They worked for DERM, or the Department.
If the food inspector show up looking like this, man, I'm like, oh fuck.
Yeah, that's wild.
Can you send some? I'll be like, look, something happened, man. We can't do the inspection today. And they hope that the company send a different group of inspectors the next time, man.
Yeah. I honestly think that I'm being set up to be robbed or some shit. Like, where's the original inspectors? What y'all do with them?
They in the trunk tied up. Yeah. Yeah, who the fuck is these guys?
Of Economic and Regulatory Resources with Miami-Dade County. They're accused of extorting large sums of money from family restaurants in South Florida.
Both subjects extorted a total amount of $14,620 from 15 hardworking, long-established family businesses.
The investigation began in April of last year. Both men worked independently, but investigators say they knew each other and had a similar scheme. They would lie, allegedly, that restaurants had faulty grease traps. The pair is accused of using their position by threatening to shut down restaurants or give them large fines if they didn't pay them off.
They felt like they were being robbed. It was their business on the one side, they were going to get violations or shut down, or they pay off this guy for a couple $100.
Bethel is facing a host of charges, which include official misconduct by a public servant, 10 counts of compensation or reward for official behavior, and organized fraud. Bryant has been charged with organized fraud and compensation or reward for official behavior. Some of the 15 restaurants include Fritanga Monimbo, Presto Foods, Annie's Bread, Peru Anita.
You noticing the pattern, man?
Burritos.
Exploiting these fucking burritos, man. Racist motherfucking sun turds.
And Grand Parada Cafe. According to arrest warrants, financial records like Zelle payments also link the pair to the crime. So did the first victim in the case.
She actually identified the second victim in the case. It was an adjacent restaurant in the same shopping center where she was at. And that led to discovering Mr. Charles Bryant and taking him into custody.
In a statement, DERM said in part, we have taken several steps to prevent any criminal behavior in the future, including working to outfit all inspection staff with body cameras and standardizing vehicle tracking systems across the entire department to improve monitoring.
We do believe that there are other victims out there and or possibly other people committing this type of extortion. And so it's so important our community understand that if you have that information, please come forward.
If you're a restaurant owner who may have been targeted, you can call the Miami-Dade Sheriff's Office Public Corruption Line at 305-599-3121 or the State Attorney's Office at 305-547-3300. In Miami, Jamie Garola, NBC6 News.
Niggas, man. Jeez.
Off the top at 10, an unsettling flight from Savannah, Georgia to Miami leaves passengers shaken after they say a man on their plane began behaving erratically. Witnesses say he started screaming and stomping when the wheels went up. I'm Jim Barry. They say he then swallowed rosary beads and kicked a flight attendant in the chest. CBS News Miami's Anna McAllister joins us live from MIA with this exclusive. Anna, bring us up to speed on this.
Well, Jim, I spoke to a passenger that helped to take this man down, and he tells me this entire ordeal was the most disturbing thing he's ever experienced in his life. This Savannah flight bound for Miami hit turbulence just moments after takeoff, and we're not talking about the skies.
Myself and my friend were talking, we're like, we could have to take this guy down.
Rob Rosenberg was on this Monday night flight when he says a man, later identified as 31-year-old Delange Augustin, started violently shaking
Of all
and screaming
people.
moments after takeoff. Rosenberg says the crew and passengers initially thought Augustin was having a seizure.
He started stomping his feet violently, like heavily, and screaming. It was kind of a chant. He was talking about devils and possession and
Haitian.
It was like, you have to kind of see it to believe it, sort of thing.
According to the criminal complaint, when Flight Attendant 2 approached Augustin to check on his welfare, Augustin turned in his seat, lifted his legs, and kicked Flight Attendant 2 in the chest.
He was being so violent, you were like, this is not normal.
Police say after he kicked the flight attendant, the pilot decided to turn the plane back to Savannah. But Rosenberg says the man continued causing a scene by kicking the back of another passenger's seat.
Destroyed this other man's seat. Like, he kicked it and punched it and just buckled the seat completely over.
Rosenberg says once they were grounded, Augustin once again became violent.
He just charged the front doors of the plane, like swinging wildly.
That's when Rosenberg, his friend, and another man took Augustin down. Rosenberg says Augustin swallowed rosary beads while on the ground and was gripping onto his sister during the takedown.
She had a bun in her hair, and he grabbed hold of her bun in her hair, and he grabbed hold of her pants and wouldn't let her go. So they tased him once, twice, 3 times. He still didn't let go. At that point, they had to cut the woman's hair to make him let go.
Rosenberg says Augustin was arrested while his sister sang what sounded like hymns.
They were possessed. That was a very, very...
What in the fuck?
What the fuck, man? Hopefully that was her fake hair that they cut. That'd be a shame if they cut her actual real hair because of her goddamn brother.
That's a white girl, man. It was a white girl.
Oh, wow. Why did I have them? Why did I picture a son, man? I don't know.
What are you talking about? He's talking about this guy's sister. His sister. He was holding his sister's hair. The son man.
Okay, all right.
At that point, they had to cut the woman's hair to make him let go.
Rosenberg says Augustin was arrested while his sister sang what sounded like hymns.
They were possessed. That was a very, very, very disturbing scene. I've seen a lot of stuff in my life. That was probably the most disturbing thing I've ever seen.
And according to this criminal complaint, Augustin told his sister while they were on the flight that they were going to go to Haiti to flee from spiritual and religious attacks. Police also say that Augustin told his sister that Satan's disciples had followed them onto the plane. He is facing several charges tonight. But for now, reporting live from the Miami.
Wow.
Man, I'd hate to say that I love something like that.
Learning more details.
Tonight, a South Florida jeweler.
It's a rough one, man. Oh my God. Jeez.
Tonight, we are learning of a second arrest in connection with the death of a 3-year-old boy killed by a stray bullet at a birthday party.
Loved ones gathering tonight to remember little Rilo Yancey. Local 10's Terrell Fournette.
A 3-year-old killed by a stray bullet at a birthday party. That has nigger written all over it. Press 1.
A is live in Fort Lauderdale with the update. Terrell.
Detectives finally making significant progress in this case, and it is the type of big break that the family of this young boy has been waiting for since last summer.
Say his name!
Little Rilo's face on giant cardboard cutouts, even on t-shirts with his favorite Spider-Man character. And still very much
sister.
in the hearts of the people who love and miss him the most.
The last 7.5 months, time has stood still for us while the world kept moving.
Last summer, the 3-year-old boy was killed by a stray bullet in broad daylight on the playground at Riverland Park in Fort Lauderdale during a children's birthday party. This week, police arrested 20-year-old Tyler Tyrone Hollins on a first.
Fucking proto-human.
Just running around with a gun in a civilized society. That's
just doing what they do.
It's a glitch in the matrix, man. It's a human glitch. That thing right there is not supposed to be carrying one of the most sophisticated killing machines in the history of the world. He shouldn't be able to get his hands on one. It should be illegal to give him. It should be illegal to give him a gun.
If he had a spear, if that nigga had a spear, he'd still end up being some innocent 3-year-old dead. It's in our DNA, you know that.
Jeez.
First-degree murder charge, accusing him of being one of several gunmen that day for a violent dispute that didn't even involve Rilo's family.
They took his life. He was only 3 years old. They shattered our whole entire family.
Hugs from homicide detectives Thursday with Rilo's loved ones only signaled even more good news. A second arrest, 23-year-old Thaddeus Squire III, now charged as an accessory after the fact.
Oh, accessory after the fact. Jesus Christ, these fucking devils.
Police say he was the getaway driver in the car that Hollins fired from.
But deliver us from all evil, Lord God.
Prayers answered for this family as they take a giant leap toward justice for Rilo.
It's not over. Everybody going down. We already knew it was going to be justice. So, I mean, we just sitting back waiting for everything to fall together.
We also want to thank the community
Is she
for
talking
the
about
show of
a murder?
support. Your tips and prayers have got us to this moment.
So this family very grateful, especially to the police department. And officers tell us that even though 2 people are in custody, more arrests, they say, are imminent, primarily the other individuals in those 2 Mercedes vehicles that were last seen speeding away. We are live in Fort Lauderdale tonight.
Jeez. Goddamn animals. And now we got to worry about you coming down to spring break.
Right now, spring breakers are out in full force on South Beach, and so are police.
And the city taking tough measures this year to crack down on bad behavior. Local 10's Kristen De La Rosa live now on the beach with what you need to know tonight.
Salute to Eric Assoc Nation Hall of Fame for coming through once again. Shout out to my man, Barry B. Barry B in the building. Salute, man. Make sure y'all sponsor the show, man. How many likes we got? However many likes we got, man, I'm sure we can get 20 more right quick, man. I can get 20 people to hit the like button right now, man, that haven't hit the like button, man. Go and smash that like button right now.
Have you guys ever heard anyone describe South Beach as boring? That's what some spring breakers are saying, but city officials are just fine with that. Their arrival has begun. They come chasing the sun and ready for a good time. But again, this year, they're met with a reality check. Law enforcement officers are more visible than the hot bods in the crowd. Those looking for a mad party are not welcome.
Pause.
Well, if they're looking to party hardcore, I would not do it here.
Officers expect this to be the first of the busiest weekends this spring break. To keep the order starting this weekend, city officials are shutting down some parking garages. Visitors will have to pay $100 for parking. If their cars get towed, the tow fee will more than double. And starting Friday, city officials will be forcing restaurants to clear their chairs and tables from sidewalks. Also starting Friday night, a DUI checkpoint.
I think if you want to get lit and go crazy, Vegas would be the place to go.
Some spring breakers we spoke to say they're just trying to make the best of it.
I mean, being in Miami anyways is always going to be good.
My freshman year, I guess I'd say like they weren't very strict. They weren't like you could have open containers. They wouldn't say anything. But now it's like a little more strict. You kind of got to hide it.
About trying to hide misbehavior on the beach. Miami Beach Police is reminding breakers they're being watched.
Not only will a drone be deployed during any critical incident, but we have a full team of law enforcement personnel and professional staff members monitoring the cameras. We have over 850 cameras throughout the city.
Got that, son,
That's a lot of
teens?
cameras, when it comes.
Hey, that DUI checkpoint is a little extreme. That's just my opinion.
They still gonna fuck it up. We're gonna still see violence and all that shit like we do every fucking year. We're still gonna see it. Trust me, they're undefeated. Them fucking sun turds down there are undefeated.
I'm curious to see what the numbers are going to be. I have a feeling it's going to be down. Just the thought of presence. I just have that. Well, it's just the thought of consequence that makes them just turn away.
Okay, we'll see. We'll see. Let's go to DC, man.
And we begin with a Fox 5 exclusive tonight. The search is on for a driver who hit a grandmother as she was crossing the street, sending her flying.
That was caught on camera in Northwest D.C., and that's where we find Fox 5's Nana Bonsu tonight. First things first, Nana, how's the grandmother doing?
Yes, hey guys, I had a chance to speak with 75-year-old Miss Barnes. She's okay. She tells me her entire body is sore after she was hit by a car last Friday around 7:30 right here on Missouri as she was trying to cross the street into this median. Instead, she was hit by this car, thrown into the air, and landed near this curb several feet away.
I feel in pain. I just wish that he has to stop and help me, but he didn't,
Wow. But instead, the driver of a black truck drove around Miss Barnes after hitting her as she was crossing the street, walking down Kansas Avenue. The moment she was hit, went up in the air and landed on the ground was all caught on a neighbor's surveillance camera.
He was just speeding.
We could be planning a funeral instead of being here today. Miss Barnes' daughter, April, is still in shock. She keeps replaying this video.
I seen the video. I watched it over and over and over again. And it's a blessing for her to be here today.
With no broken bones or serious injuries, her mother just celebrated her 75th birthday.
Wow.
75. This turned 75, March the 2nd.
Even though the doctors tell her she's expected to be okay, her recovery may take some time. Miss Barnes currently walks with a limp following last Friday's crash.
I just feel pain. You just put me in some pain, I just hope the person that hit my mom has a heart and come forward.
Now, DC police are searching for the driver. They say they have not been able to make an arrest. Anyone with information is asked to call 911. Guys.
Wow. So yeah, some man not stopping if he hit you. Some man is not stopping. You can cancel that. Let's see. What else is going on around this place? Glider.
Learning more today about the attempted kidnapping of a young girl in Loudoun County.
It happened inside of a restaurant with the victim's mother standing right there. Fox 5's Bob Barnard live in Leesburg with what we know at this hour. Bob?
Hey there, Marina and Jim. The suspect is being held here at the Loudoun County Adult Detention Center without bond. He does not have a criminal record as best we can tell. His name, the suspect, is Shane Bergeron. He's 34 years old from Jefferson, Georgia. This is his mugshot. He's charged with abduction by force. According to court documents, Bergeron tried to kidnap a little girl Sunday night around 7:30 from inside a Mexican restaurant at Loudoun Station in Ashburn. Detectives claim Bergeron grabbed the 3-year-old girl who was standing right next to her mother at Senor Taquilla's and carried her toward the front door. That's where the mother had to forcibly grab him, grab her from his arms. An employee called 911. Bergeron was arrested at a hotel nearby. Reaction outside the restaurant this afternoon.
I'm so concerned because I'm pregnant, so my baby's coming this year. So if something happened there, I'm like, I don't know how can I say it, but that's make me more worried about the situation here.
Had you heard about it? What do you think of that?
Honestly, I had no idea, and I thought we were safe here. I mean, we have a lot of security going around every time I see. Like I live here in this apartment, and I had no idea this happened. That's crazy.
And I haven't really seen much crime around here at all, really. It's been, I mean, it's just data centers right here, small houses and stuff. That's really surprising.
It's shocking. This area is known for a very low crime rate. So to hear something like that happen in an area like this is ridiculous. So very sad, but glad they caught the guy.
Now, according to his LinkedIn profile, Shane Bergeron works as a project manager for a woman-owned, Colorado-based company that specializes in low-voltage IT work at data centers. Not sure if he was in Ashburn on a job. He told the court he works in Atlanta, but his company does have an office in Ashburn. The alleged kidnapping was captured on a security camera inside the restaurant, but the owner told me the sheriff's office asked her not to release that video to the media. Bergeron is being held here in the Adult Detention Center without bond. His next court appearance is a preliminary hearing on April 4th. Guys?
Wow. Wow. Seattle, man.
The St. Louis mayoral debate is between a Sun Woman and a Glider Woman.
Oh yeah, we got to see that too. We got to check it up. St. Louis. Hey, let's see. Wow, it's pretty slow in Seattle, man. Seattle seems that is coming under control, man.
Some guy ran over a maniac with a machete, and he got arrested. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. What's up, man?
Hey, did you you seen how although all these right wing YouTube people got swatted within this past 24 hours, or maybe the past 36 hours or whatever? You hear anything about that?
Aurora Avenue hit and run. That's it.
No, I didn't. I didn't. Where were the hit and runs at? Everywhere. I don't know. We'll see.
A suspected burglar accused of shooting his way into a store at a local mall to steal high-end kicks appeared in court today. The Snohomish County Violent Offender Task Force arrested Micah Snyder at a Pierce County apartment last night. Snyder is accused of shooting out the glass at a sneaker store at the Alderwood Mall earlier this year. Linwood police say he stole a small fortune in sneakers. Detectives say he confessed to similar burglaries at 3 other malls. In court, he was wearing glasses that looked just like the ones worn by the suspect caught on camera in one of those burglaries. And he was also with an AR-15 at his apartment. Detectives say they recovered this rifle after serving a search warrant. The prosecutor noted while he's facing burglary in the first-degree charge, Snyder's use of a gun makes him dangerous.
But this defendant separated himself from a lot of other defendants who may be armed during burglary and that he actually used the firearm. Now, he may have used it to gain entry, but it's certainly a dual-purpose weapon. It was used again in a similar burglary that he admitted to that occurred at the Southfield Mall. And when he was arrested, he was found with a long weapon.
Snyder's attorney asked for $25,000 bail, arguing he hasn't had any warrants or convictions since 2019. Citing the AR-15 officers say Snyder used in the crimes, though, Judge Anthony Howard ruled he would likely commit a violent crime if released. So he granted the prosecution's request for a $50,000 bail.
Wow.
Fox 45 News has obtained video out of South Baltimore in which police say that 4 teens carjacked a 76-year-old woman. Fox 45's Vincent Hill joins us live with details surrounding the juvenile suspects in a story that you're seeing tonight. First on Fox. Vincent.
Maxine, at least one of those teens has a history of carjackings, and police may have been closely watching the other suspects.
Tuesday morning around 4:45. Pay attention to this figure walking towards this white vehicle. Police say it's a 76-year-old woman who had just gotten her morning coffee. Now, pay attention to this vehicle, which appears to be a Hyundai. It passes her vehicle, but not for long. It backs up and parks next to her. Seconds later,
Suspect is 4-1 male. Vehicle is a white Chrysler 300.
A carjacking as the victim is pulled from her car. Some of the suspects speed off in her vehicle as the others follow in the trail car. The victim calmly walks back inside the store.
In the direction of more towards South Payne Avenue, towards Payne on top of it.
Now, fast forward to around 4 o'clock Wednesday morning.
So they have all 4 individuals going to be right on the Caton Ave exit onto from 95.
This image from a nearby highway cam shows the aftermath.
Just be reminded, those I got 4 juveniles that need to be transported.
According to Baltimore police, 15-year-olds and a 16-year-old were arrested for carjacking and auto theft. 3 taken to juvenile booking. One of the 15-year-olds charged as an adult. And it's not the first time that 15-year-old was previously arrested for carjacking and later released. Meanwhile, a source close to the investigation telling Fox 45 the suspects were being watched by police.
They're probably trying to make it home. Again, this is a carjacking crew from that block.
According to the source, that crew may have been responsible for at least 30 carjackings and robberies in the last week alone.
Unfortunately, just an awful thing that would take place with someone like her, an elderly person, period.
Meanwhile, this latest carjacking has residents feeling disheartened.
It's disheartening that we have children who feel this is what they want to do or have to do.
And wanting more when it comes to juvenile crime.
They know the difference between right and wrong. When you're a teenager, you know what's right and you know what's wrong.
And it is important to note that that victim was not injured in this carjacking. Meanwhile, at last check, according to BPD, those 3 juveniles taken to juvenile booking are still in custody. And again, one of those 15-year-olds now charged as an adult. For now, we're live in Baltimore. Vincent Hill, Fox 45 News.
I'm Mary Bubala. Thank you for watching. Here's another video for you to watch. Also take some time to subscribe to our YouTube channel.
4-on-1 versus a 76-year-old is really stacking the deck.
The ongoing juvenile crime has residents, lawmakers, and law enforcement leaders frustrated with the Department of Juvenile Services and its secretary, Vincent Schiraldi. Carroll County Sheriff Jim DeWeese called out the secretary when he announced the arrest of a young offender he says DJS allowed to slip through the cracks. 19-year-old Darius Bond was arrested in connection with a deadly hit-and-run last August. Police say he was already in custody for an unrelated crime in Frederick County and was recently released from a Baltimore City jail on gun possession charges. The sheriff with harsh criticism for DJS.
The state's just got to get better at what they're doing and stop coddling people and really recognize the issue and talk to the experts about it. The numbers that Mr. Schiraldi gives are, it's voodoo. He's just making stuff up. It's a shame. But he's just simply doing a poor job, and the governor needs to change leadership there.
I sat down with the sheriff to talk more about his frustration with the state of juvenile crime in Maryland and the DJS secretary.
I'm not saying anything that everyone else in the business isn't saying or thinking.
Carroll County Sheriff Jim DeWeese says juvenile crime is impacting people far and wide in Maryland. And when the problem touched his county,
who's ready to step up and speak out.
I've made a prepared statement to let the governor and anyone know that, including the secretary of DJS and judges or anybody that had contact with this individual that was here in my county, struck and killed a citizen in my county. I made a point to let them know that they were indirectly responsible for the death of this individual by the decisions that they've made. So it was nothing organically. I had planned to call them out.
In this case, DeWeese says the suspect no stranger to law enforcement. Though the details of his involvement with the Department of Juvenile Services are not known to the public due to state privacy laws.
This individual, Darius Bond, didn't show up at the age of 18 and 6 months and just start his involvement with organized crimes and stealing cars and handguns and burglaries, and not only in Baltimore, but Carroll County, Frederick County, and other jurisdictions. That didn't just happen. I know it didn't because I know his criminal history. He has an extensive history with DJS. He's been involved with them for quite some time, and nothing was done. And if it was done, it wasn't done right.
DJS Secretary Vincent Schiraldi has been in the spotlight since Governor Westmore named him 2 years ago. This legislative session, lawmakers grilled him about an oversight report showing the department lacks oversight and controls to track performance metrics for programs it sends kids to for services.
Good afternoon. This is the House Judiciary Committee.
During one of those General
Services.
Assembly hearings,
What
Schiraldi
about the
told
programs,
lawmakers
though?
A whole bunch of our kids
Ah,
are done.
Right, what's up?
Around 70 to
What's up?
75%.
Oh, man, just try to wake you up, bro.
What's up, man?
Hey,
Well,
man.
I'm-
I'm glad you're back with us. Glad you're back with us, man. Hey.
Salute to Andy Armour. He says, pledge. RIP 3-year-old boy, I'm sorry the human race failed you. Yeah, man, that's a touching tribute, man. RIP to that little boy, man. This fucking teenager right here, man. I mean, he's not even that bad. This one here in Baltimore, he's not even that bad. But whatever case it takes to get them to change it, they got to make changes in Baltimore, man. Boy Kachina says, not that bloody, but still cool looking. Flatheads proved wrong in real time. Grab bionics if you got them. Check it out in 20 or 30 minutes. Peace all. Yeah, salute to the blood moon, man. I think it's on Facebook. It should be on Facebook.
Salute to the blood moon.
Yeah, the blood moon should be on Facebook right now. Let me see. Let me see if it's on Facebook. I just don't no one's saying the moon is not there. I don't even think anybody who's a flat earther is arguing that the moon ain't there. You can see that.
Yeah.
I say they
What the hell does it have to do with the shape of the Earth?
Yeah, exactly. Like, just because the moon may or may not be round, or may be a disc, or maybe be a hologram, who knows what it is? But no one's saying anything about that has anything to do with the Earth. Salute to Bug Off, man. Bug Off gifted the Knock Nation membership. Shout out to you, Bug Off.
Bug off, eh?
Yeah, salute to Jim Sefton, man. Jim Sefton in the building, man. Jimmy Sefton, man. In the building, man.
Nice dog.
This is 11. What? 3. One is missing. One is missing. But anyway, man. Salute to whoever the super chat. It didn't show up. I think one is missing. I'm not sure. But I have to refresh the screen. Let's see. Okay, look at this little piece of his
On
Latino
Fox
piece of
tonight,
shit.
Gresham police need your help to find Fox 12's most wanted, accused of shooting and killing a 17-year-old boy
Portland.
at a park.
It happened in January, but tonight we're seeing pictures of the suspect. Fox 12's Dylan Scott spoke to law enforcement today and has the very latest. Dylan.
Pete and Riel, good evening. The Gresham Police Department is now circulating the photos of 16-year-old Camarino Vides, who they say shot and killed 17-year-old Jorge Vasquez at a futsal court in an apparent unprovoked attack. Another senseless gun violence that they're working hard to prevent.
Is concerning. When we look back at our recent history, we've seen a heightened stats around violence related to gun use.
Gresham Police Chief Travis Goldberg, a father himself, is asking those in the surrounding metro area for any information on 16-year-old Camarino Vides, the suspect in the shooting death of another teenager at Vance Park on Southeast 182nd Avenue back on January 23rd. He's considered armed and dangerous. His whereabouts unknown.
The hope is that when we get this information out to the community, that we can share it broadly throughout the metro area and the region and even statewide, because we don't know.
The death of 17-year-old Jorge Ovidio Mateo Vasquez at this popular futsal court is part of the city's continued fight with gun violence. In February, Gresham joined the ceasefire program, using key partnerships to try and address the root causes of this kind of criminal activity and stop it before it starts, says coordinator Marcel Frazier.
So there's not this huge lapse where we wait for the next event where somebody who was a witness turns into a victim or a perpetrator. So I would say that immediate connection with community providers is really, really huge.
The early returns have been
What the hell is he talking
Frazier,
about?
a Portland native. But this incident and the reality of youthful offenders using guns proves there are still major concerns to address.
For the month of February, we had 0 homicides, which is a positive. So far this month in the city of Gresham, we also have 0 homicides. Last year, I believe we had 5 or 6 homicides. Our peak, which was 21 or 2022, was 15 or 16 homicides. So we've seen reductions year by year, but my goal obviously is reducing as much as we can realistically.
Which Gresham police say starts with putting those like Vides behind bars for committing what they say was an unprovoked deadly attack.
Get it out to the community so that they can help protect our community and that we can get this individual found, located. And really the most important part here is bring justice to Jorge's family.
Again, if you know the whereabouts of 16-year-old Camarino Vides shown in these photos or have information on the incident that took place at Vance Park, they ask you to reach out to Gresham Police or local law enforcement immediately.
Wow. Let's see. Well,
75 families will now have access to a new affordable housing complex in Southwest Beaverton amid high demand.
Southwest Beaverton. Beaverton is a suburb. Affordable housing in the suburb? Uh-oh.
Hey, this is tangential, but here in Seattle and King County, you pay a fee anytime anyone buys a house. They pay a fee for all types of bullshit. Turns out that they're using the money raised by that fee to pay black people when they buy a house. Just give them free money.
Wow.
And the team behind the project says they wanted to reimagine what affordable housing could look like.
Fox 12's Leslie Dominique captured the ribbon
Reimagine, that's a buzzword.
cutting ceremony at the Altura Apartments and has more.
1, 2, 3.
New beginnings at the Altura Apartments in Beaverton.
I am just thrilled to see this beautiful new
God.
affordable housing development.
The 75-unit
And
affordable
then
housing
never
community
ever
is
come
located
back here
on
again.
Southwest 175th Avenue, offering 1, 2, and 3-bedroom apartments to families earning 30% to 60% of area median income, which according to Washington County is $35,400 to $70,800 for a family of 4. Blending in amongst other apartments in the South Cooper Mountain neighborhood, the vision behind its design was for it to look no different from any other commercial housing.
There's no need to create substandard housing for people just because they have low incomes. People need a decent housing.
The $40.7 million building was developed by Bridge Housing. It was made possible with financing from Oregon Housing and Community Services, the City of Beaverton, and including $12 million from Metro's Affordable Housing Bond.
We all want safe places to live, places to live with dignity and to thrive.
For this development, location was key. Now, 75 families will have access to one of the state's highest rated schools.
I've got a kid
Nice.
who's going to be going to Mountainside.
A commute only steps away.
The opportunity for a young person or a youth to walk to high school, it's great.
Reporting in Beaverton, Leslie Dominique, Fox 12 Oregon.
I wish they would say
This
how
trial is a
much
culmination of decisions.
how much of the 47 million was like taxpayer money or government money.
A lot of it. A lot of it. A lot of it. Man,
Huck, what do you think about the moon, though? Do you think it's a luminary?
yeah, I don't know what the moon is. It just because you only get to see one side of it, which is the craziest thing ever. You can only see one side of it, ever. Like no one's ever seen the other side of it. So
Yeah, it's supposed to spin, isn't it?
Yeah, it stays right there. And the moon, the moon and the sun, they could all be different things, man. I don't know everything. I'm in the camp. I don't know everything, and they're in the camp that they know everything. And it just seemed like by now we would just be like, it would be like condos on the moon, or it would just be like traveling to the moon would like be normal, and all this stuff would be normalized. It's still like you can't even get a fucking astronaut to pull his pants up on his ass nowadays, man. How the fuck you gonna get to the moon? I mean, it's just weird, man. It's just weird shit, man.
Look, they've been fucking sitting on their asses for decades.
Yeah, now every time they're supposed to go, the thing is postponed. They postponing the launch, trying to make it seem like there's real problems going on when they're probably just faking it. It seems like they're faking it. It seems like all this shit seems fake. All this space shit seems fake. Elon too with SpaceX, it all seems fake.
Yeah. Huge crock of shit.
Yeah, it just seems like it's all horse shit. If they know how to play on people like, complications and being involved with you working it out, like the drama of, hey, we want to go today, but we can't go because XYZ happened, and then they think that there's drama, but man, it looked like it's just fake.
The Artemis mission, the next great leap in lunar travel, and one the world will have to wait a little longer for.
Space is hard. And the endeavor,
excuse me,
like Artemis, over a half a century after Apollo, is hard.
Artemis 1 traveled unmanned to the moon in 2022, but actually sending astronauts on Artemis 2 now moves to April 2026 from a planned launch next fall, nudging Artemis 3 further too to 2027.
Sometimes in space, delays are agonizing and slowing down is agonizing.
The root cause of
It's
a problem that
hard.
emerged during Artemis 1. The empty Orion capsule returned with a crack in its heat shield. Engineers only recently pinpointed heat damage, which happened during re-entry into the atmosphere. So now,
What the fuck does that even mean? Like that's all. It is heat shield. Like what the fuck? What do you mean? It's heat. A crack in its heat shield. What does like? I thought it was freezing up there. Oh, but now it's cold. I guess when you re-enter, it's hot again, and there was a crack in the heat shield. So, like, this seems like just bullshit. This is all just seems like They're just giving us bullshit to keep my minds occupied.
To the atmosphere. So NASA has decided to adjust its return path. That change in direction means delays. But NASA says it still expects to beat China's 2030 timeline to the moon.
That we establish our presence there so that China would not be there and say, keep out.
That area of most promise is the dark side of the moon and the presence of water, now just a little further from our reach. Taria Isri, Global News, Montreal.
I'm sorry, did they just tell us there's water on the dark side of the moon?
NASA's Artemis II is the first crew.
Not because they are easy, but because they are hard.
NASA's Artemis II is the first crewed lunar mission in over 50 years. 4 astronauts will venture around the moon, preparing humanity for a long-term lunar presence. For
a sun turd. Yeah, it's just perfect. So you got a woman, a buzz cut white boy, and the other one is probably going to be. You got to have at least 2 white guys, man.
For 50 years.
Like this, so they're not
to make it believable.
Yeah, they're not gonna go too deep with the next one ain't gonna be a trans. I hope the fourth one's not.
4 astronauts will venture around the moon, preparing humanity for a long-term lunar presence for scientific discovery.
Yeah, okay, so they did 2 white guys. Yeah, because
wait, how is flying around it preparing to land on it, like, and set up shop?
Because they lost the technology from 1969 on how to land on the moon. They lost it. I guess they don't know how to land on the moon now.
And exploration.
So you can't say shit because this nigga here. So like you can't say it flat. You can't say this is all bullshit. Cause what you saying? It's bullshit because a black dude now. Well, yeah, I'm saying it's been bullshit. Even when it was all white people, it was bullshit. But now you throw the sun turd in it so that he can be like cover for it. And then the woman, so you ain't been in 50 years and you sending a DEI crew up there.
The 10-day test flight will demonstrate a range of deep space exploration capabilities with crew. The mission will prove the Orion spacecraft is ready to keep astronauts alive in deep space and allow the crew and ground teams to practice operations essential to the success of future missions. On launch day, the Artemis II crew suits up, undergoes final checks, and rides in the crew transportation vehicles to Launch Pad 39B at NASA's Kennedy Space Center in Florida. Stacked on the mobile launcher, NASA's 322-foot-tall SLS, or Space Launch System rocket with the Orion spacecraft awaits the crew, having made its 4-mile journey from the vehicle assembly building on the crawler transporter to the pad. The launch team fills the SLS propellant tanks with over 700,000 gallons of liquid oxygen and liquid hydrogen and verifies guidance, communications, and avionics. At 12 seconds before liftoff, the hydrogen burn-off igniters fire. About 6 seconds later, the rocket's 4 RS-25 engines ignite. When the countdown reaches 0, the umbilicals retract, giving SLS and the crew in Orion the clearance to begin the journey. The 6 million-pound moon rocket produces 8.8 million pounds of thrust to accelerate towards.
Yeah, that looks so unsafe, man. I can't believe people go into this machine, this thing right here, with all that fucking fire fumes right there, just fucking flaming right there and shit. And you're inside of here and shit. And all it would take is one fucking spark and then the whole fucking thing goes up. It just doesn't seem like there are people in there. That thing is empty, probably.
No, imagine this. Imagine women in space, getting in one of these, first of all, flying to the space station and then living in the space station for like however many months they live in there. Just imagine that.
Right. A woman and shit. Yeah. Salute to Boy Kachina, man. He said, how does something flat make a round shadow on the moon? Sun is under the puddle. No, the sun is circling the puddle. It's making the puddle. The sun and the moon are circling the puddle. They make the puddle. They carve the puddle out of the ice sheet over eons. Reentry is not hot. Reentry is hot when hitting atmosphere at 17,000 miles per hour, man. Yeah, like this thing is going. So they're flying out into space, and the rocket always turns parallel at some point. The rocket never just keeps going straight up. This seems dangerous, man. This seems so fucking dangerous that
beyond dangerous.
Yeah. And
suicidal.
Right, and then they're going into space. And then like up there in space, everything just changes. Boom. Now it's orbit.
Don't worry.
Now it's orbit.
They
It's
trained
like,
for this, Hawk.
yeah, right. But it looks like it just once you go over a certain height, boom, it changes. Now you're in orbit. Now you're floating. It's like it's just weird, man.
Space. 75% of this power comes from the two 17-story solid rocket boosters, each producing 3.6 million pounds of thrust.
Look at it, Colonel.
None of that means anything.
About 2 minutes in, the boosters are released, their solid propellant consumed. The core stage and its RS-25 engines continue to propel Orion and the crew to space.
You know what? They could have at least said the rocket is going 10,000 miles an hour or something cool like that, but they just spewed a bunch of useless numbers.
Yeah, and how the rockets don't fall on people's houses and shit? How do they on boats that are in the ocean? Like, how do they guarantee that the rockets are gonna fall after they break off and shit? Like,
well, they would tell you it's over the ocean, I'm sure. They plan for these things.
Yeah.
Engines continue to propel Orion and the crew to space. After 3 minutes, the protective fairings surrounding Orion's service module are ejected, exposing its solar arrays. 6 seconds later, the launch abort system is ejected from Orion. The crew has safely reached Earth orbit, though they could still abort using service module engines. About 8 minutes after launch, the SLS core stage engines shut down and the interim cryogenic propulsion stage, or ICPS, and Orion separate from the core stage. Orion and the ICPS are now flying free.
all this shit has to separate and come off, and then this is all happening in space and with them inside of it, and not, like, it's a lot that could go wrong.
And from here, all we got to do is just shoot for the moon. Just turn the thrusters on, go right to the moon. That's all you got to do. Do it.
Orion's 4 solar arrays deploy, powering the spacecraft and charging its batteries for when it moves out of direct sunlight during the journey to the moon and back. After a 90-minute orbit, the engine of the rocket's upper stage, or ICPS, ignites to raise Orion to a high Earth orbit. The Artemis II crew and Mission Control in Houston then began a nearly 24-hour systems check while the astronauts are still relatively close to Earth, familiarizing themselves with their new home for the next several days. Once in high Earth orbit, Orion separates from the upper stage. The expended ICPS and Orion stage adapter serve as a target for a manual handling test called the Proximity Operations Demonstration, preparing future crews for rendezvous, docking, and undocking with other spacecraft. During the demonstration, Artemis II astronauts use cameras and line of sight through Orion's windows to pilot the spacecraft as they approach and back away, assessing Orion's handling qualities, hardware, and software.
What the fuck are they doing? Yo, what the fuck? Hell no, I wouldn't go up there for no free ticket. Yo, I don't believe anybody in their right mind would get on in that tube of fucking jet rocket fuel and let them blast them into the fucking galaxy. I don't think anybody in their right mind would do that. That's why that's one of the reasons I think this shit is fake. Nobody in their fucking right mind would get on that thing. Salute to you.
Only the bold and the brave are
right
ready to risk it all.
Shout out to Boy Kachin. He says Guy Bluford became the first African American to travel to space as a mission specialist on the Space Shuttle Challenger in 1983. Guy Bluford. Let's look up Guy Bluford. The first.
I'm sure he was like a Navy SEAL or something like that.
Yeah, Guy Bluford, man. Let's see him talk, man. What are you talking about?
He looks goofy.
Yeah.
In 1977, I applied for the astronaut program among 10,000 other people. And in 1978, I got selected. There were 3 African Americans in that class, myself, Ron McNair, and Fred Gregory. I think any of the 3 of us could have.
Why are they measuring his skull like
Fred
that?
was a test pilot. Ron was an
His brain is
engineer,
big
and I
enough
sort
to
of
be
mixed
astronaut.
both. Had the blend of both. But it wasn't for me a desire to be the first African American in space. My desire was
He's measuring
to
something.
make a contribution.
He's screwing something. He's measuring something, so he's smart. Look.
A desire to be the first African American in space. My desire
Was that a bullet? What the hell?
Contribution. STS-8. There were 4 rookies on the team and Dick Truly. We trained together as a team for about 15 months before we flew. It probably took me a little.
So he joined 77, 8 years after they went to the moon, and 4 years after the last time they went to the moon. And his ass here it is, fucking 50 years later, and no one, not even him, no one has ever been to the moon again.
While to recognize the historical significance of it. And then once I sort of accepted that, then I also recognized the importance of doing the job as best as I can. And it is an opportunity to open up doors.
Good idea.
It was the first night launch. So we had to shift our circadian rhythm and get used to sleeping in the day.
Oh, God.
Why?
So just because they're traveling at night, they had to shift their circadian rhythms? Come on, man. That's bullshit. They're talking about stupid shit. They're not talking about actual astronauting and actual space shit. They're talking about all this other shit. That's what
Take some
liars
drugs.
do. Yeah, but isn't that what liars do? They tell you details, unnecessary details about the shit. Like, what do you mean you had to? You're just going at night. You're a human. You like. What do you mean you had to shift your circadian rhythm because you're going at night?
It just sounds good. Circadian rhythm. Shifting.
Yeah.
So we had to shift our circadian rhythm and get used to sleeping in the day and living at night. Getting up at 10 o'clock at night. Going
But there is no day and night, right?
Just a week to do that. We did that primarily in quarantine. The day that we were going to fly, they got us up at 10 o'clock at night. And we had breakfast. We suited up. About midnight, we went downstairs and climbed into the van to go out to the bird. It was raining that night. And I knew that it was going to be an exciting night because people came from all over to watch this launch because I was flying.
Raining, really?
imagine them all standing out there at 1 o'clock in the morning with their
Yo, fucktard, you're in a fucking tube full of a gazillion gallons of rocket fuel. Tell us about what's going through your mind, what you're processing about that. He's telling us about people standing outside holding signs and shit. And it's raining and all this bullshit. Fucktard, you're in a fucking tube with a gazillion gallons of rocket fuel. They're about to set it on fire and blast you into the fucking galaxy. Any thoughts on that part?
And if you go outside, you explode.
Right? These people are so fucking fraudulent, man. He doesn't even, that's not even a human response. Boy Kachina said he called us cowards. Boy Kachina, man, you let me put you in that thing. Or let me just tell you, next month you're getting in a tube full of fucking rocket fuel. And as the days count down, your ass will be fucking scared too. You might not even fucking go.
Hey, feel free to click the link, hop on, and defend this. Please.
Yeah. Shout out to Boy Gachin. He says, who is the restarting glider you got on board tonight? Moon looks great right now. Yeah, the moon is there. We know the moon is there. Shout out to the blood moon. But no one, it's been there for 50 years and they ain't been there yet, man. They ain't been back. And this fucking sun turd, he ain't going there, and the sun turd they got now ain't going there. And neither are any of the fucking gliders in between. This is all a fucking crock of shit.
their umbrellas, all asking the same question, and that is, why am I standing here? You know, the launch was slipped, I guess, about a half hour because we were supposed to launch off at about 2, but the weather was starting to clear. Maybe a little after 2 in the morning, they felt they gave us the go for liftoff, and we counted down, and clock marched all the way down to 0, and the solid rocket boosters lit off. We had darkened our cockpit so that we could maintain our night vision just in case we would have to do an emergency landing. Well, the first real surprise was when the solid rocket boosters lit off and lit up the cockpit. I mean, whatever night vision we were supposed to have, we lost it. The thing that surprised me was it was just like the simulators, except the vehicle actually...
It was just like the simulators? That's your description of it? Yeah, it was just like the simulation. Yo, y'all, press 1 if you don't think that's bizarre. That's what the fucking astronauts on the fucking Neil Armstrong and them said when they came back. It was, remember they said it was just like the simulation.
It was hard.
It was just like the simulator.
Boycott China. If you believe in this, you're the one who's retarded.
Everything went exactly how the simulation went. What? Like, what do you mean? What does that mean? Like, a human would be telling you, like, yo, man, that shit was rattling. I was scared to death. I was fucking horrified.
We almost made a mistake, and it was a close call.
Yeah, it was just like the simulation. What? Okay, so tell us about the simulation then. What happens in the simulation? Like, once you get into orbit, does it, like, how do you feel? What give us some human, be human.
You could interpret the simulation. I mean, he probably did that you spin around really fast thing. But other than that, like, what, a video game?
I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. Yeah, like, give us something.
Moved. The crew taped the intercom conversation. There's somebody giggling and laughing all the way up, you know, and we listened to it for quite a while to try and figure out who that was, only to come to the conclusion that was me. I mean, I laughed and giggled all the way up. You know, it was such a fun ride. As we were crossing the Atlantic, you could see the sunrise and Africa come up over the horizon.
Of course.
Just spectacular.
Of course, the black guy sees Africa.
Mother Africa.
Of course, the first continent to come up they saw was Africa. Yeah, of course.
Where we all
You're
originate
going into
from.
orbit upside down. Just spectacular view. But we finally got on orbit and we unstrapped from the seat. I still remember unstrapping from the seat for the first time, and I was floating on the ceiling. I mean, I just sort of, goodness gracious, and you're in harnesses and you got to get out. And for the first couple of hours, for rookies, it's just all arms and legs trying to get your act together. Once you get the vehicle configured for orbit operations, you eat lunch. I mean, that's normal. You eat lunch. During that time period, that's when you find out if you're going to be comfortable or not comfortable in space. You don't know if you're going to suffer from this space adaptation syndrome thing or not. There were 2 members of our flight that suffered from it. Not only did I eat my lunch, but I helped eat somebody else's lunch. And our primary mission was to deploy a satellite, and I was the lead guy for that. Probably towards the end of that day, we deployed the satellite. Then the next 3 or 4 days, I had so much time that I went downstairs during one day and took a cat nap. Dick Truly and Dan Brandenstein were challenged with reference to flying the vehicle at night, both launch and landing at night. They figured that out. They had to serve as trailblazers for that. I tried not to be a distraction to them, though they realized they were flying me and there would be more attention paid to me than these guys. But these guys also made major contributions on the flight. It was a great team effort. Bill Thornton did an awful lot of work looking at man's adaptation to zero-G. Dale Gardner operated the ARM, the RMS. We did a couple of days engineering work using the ARM.
The President is on the line. Yes, sir, Mr. President.
We tagged up and spoke with Ronald Reagan on orbit, which was nice. That was a nice experience. And
Now remember, in those days, there's no fucking cell phones. There's no cell phones anywhere. But they're talking to the fucking president in real time from fucking space.
Well, if you believe we landed on the moon, you have to also believe that the technology the government has is like 100 years ahead of whatever's available to the public.
So those greedy fucking government people are going to keep this fucking shit classified and not make money off of it in the general public for 100 years. You're right. They're probably like 5 years ahead of us. For anything they got is probably 5. If they feel like they can make money off of it, they're going to make money off of it, selling it to us. There's no way.
They lined us up, and we had our conversation with the president at the time.
Guy, congratulations. You, I think, are paving the way for many others, and you're making it plain that we are in an era of brotherhood here in our land.
On the 6th day, we tidied up the vehicle and turned it around and brought it home. I still remember coming home, sitting next to Dale Gardner, and he had a camera taking pictures out the window, and occasionally he would hand me the camera, and the camera got heavier and heavier and heavier and heavier as we were coming home. So you could feel the gravity starting to grip.
Oh, nice anecdote. Nice fake anecdote.
From the people at Edwards, you couldn't see the vehicle come in. They looked at the vehicle through an infrared camera as we turned finally, and people really didn't see us until we came in over the lights to land. And I still remember climbing into bed that night, and sleeping in the bed was like sleeping on a concrete floor. So I realized it was going to take me a couple of days to get readapted back to YG, but it was a fabulous experience. Great crew, great experience all the way around. I think everybody is comfortable with the fact
You had fun.
that African Americans can do the job just as well as anybody else. I feel very proud to be a role model, and I hope that when people look back at me, they can say, yeah, I'd like to be like Guy Bluford. That's fine with me.
A liar. A fucking pathological liar like Guy Bluford.
There was no energy behind it. You know, if you went to space and saw the moon and deployed a satellite, you'd have some gusto behind the story. But
right,
he just kind of like just plodding along. Just seems like he's just making stuff up every now and then.
Yeah,
it's just bad.
Exactly. He doesn't think if you don't think it was awesome, like goddamn, like. And then he's going around speaking. He's got this speaking engagement. He's still fucking making money off that lie. Fucking lying ass fucktard.
And if you question him, if you say, I don't think you did it, he'll try to punch you in the face.
Wow. Unbelievable, man. What a crock of shit. What a huge crock of shit, man. What a huge crock of shit. Boy, Kachina, man, you should be ashamed of your fucking self for believing this shit.
No, it's okay. He's donating money.
No, I mean, I think no, I mean, he represents like 99% of the people though. Like, it's not like he's alone, man. Don't feel bad for him, fucking KB. He's got like fucking the whole fucking planet is with him. Fuck him, man. Respectfully, Boy Katina, respectfully. We're the ones that are fucking on the island. What you talking about? Boy Katina says Motorola was working for NASA first, man.
I'm sure they got some fat contracts.
I don't know. That's a joke. This is all horse shit. This is all a fucking crock of shit. Okay? This is all a crock of shit.
It's frankly disrespectful. Just how stupid they think we are.
Yeah, and how stupid like a lot of us are, man. Like it's not even
Between 1968 and 1972, America launched 9 human missions to the moon, 6 of which successfully touched down, allowing 12 men to walk on the lunar surface. NASA's next chapter of lunar exploration, called Artemis, has the task of not just going to the moon to create a long-term human presence on and around it, but also to prepare for ever more complex human missions to Mars. In short, everything we must be able to do here,
Mars,
we must
really?
first do here. So, what will an Artemis mission look like?
they can't get to the moon, but they're gonna go to fucking Mars.
Everything is designed and tested with our most important element in mind, the astronauts. This is their deep space, human-rated spacecraft called Orion, built in 3 parts. The crew module, where up to 4 astronauts will live and work throughout the flight. The service module, with life support systems for the crew and its own engine and fuel reserves. And a launch abort system, with engines capable of pulling the crew module to safety during launch should anything go wrong. To accomplish the task of launching our crew and heavy payloads, NASA is building the Space Launch System, comprising of a cargo hold, an exploration upper stage, a massive core stage, and 2 extended solid rocket boosters. Altogether, this is the world's most powerful rocket, and it exceeds the legendary Saturn V of the Apollo era in numerous ways.
But it can't go to the moon like the Saturn V. The Saturn V went to the moon. What is it? 12? What is it? 9 times or 6 times? Whatever the fuck. But this new updated one built in this, with all the new technology we got. This was 5 years ago. This fucking video was made 5 years ago. They still haven't gotten to the moon since they made this fucking video with this new technology.
Sitting on the launch pad, the entire rocket, fully fueled, weighs just over 6 million pounds, 5.2 million of which is just the fuel. Once ignited, there is no stopping what comes next. All 4 RS-25 engines and the 2 solid rocket boosters come to life, thundering our crew upwards. 2 minutes after ignition, the solid rocket boosters are spent and released. 8 minutes after launch, the core stage is depleted and separated. The upper stage fires briefly, placing Orion into a parking orbit around the Earth. Here, the crew reconfigure the spacecraft and check systems to confirm everything is ready for deep space travel. With a go from mission
do a couple laps
crew
around the
reignite
Earth.
the exploration upper stage engines to leave Earth entirely. The exact timing of this maneuver is critical to reach a speed that can escape Earth's gravitational pull, but also put Orion on a course that will intersect the moon days later. Once this burn is complete, the upper stage of the SLS is jettisoned and the crew aboard Orion coast for several days toward all that awaits them at the moon. Approaching the moon, we see the fundamental differences between Artemis and Apollo. Instead of requiring Orion to serve as an expendable lunar command module or to carry a constrained lunar lander, the Artemis missions will take advantage of a different approach, pre-staging. Everything needed for lunar missions will be positioned in advance by commercial and international partners. This includes rovers, science experiments, and human-rated systems on the surface. But it also includes a dedicated lunar station in orbit around the moon called Gateway. Here at this station, we can pre-stage a robust lunar lander and establish a strong communications relay. Designed with open standards, the Gateway can be expanded as new missions and partnerships develop, allowing multiple human missions on the moon at the same time and enabling ongoing science to be conducted even between human missions. The Gateway is also capable of adjusting its orbit to allow access to every part of the moon, something the Apollo missions could not do. But the real key in this approach is placing Gateway in a unique halo orbit to perfect the maneuvers needed for Mars missions. And with the growing list of commercial and international opportunities, Gateway is the ideal hub between Earth and all that lies beyond. Returning to our crew as they approach Gateway, the Orion must match the elliptical orbit of the station in order to successfully dock. Once on board, pre-selected crew members transfer to the lunar lander, while those assigned to Gateway remain on station. The lunar lander system itself is built for 3 unique steps: descending from the halo orbit of Gateway down to a low lunar orbit, descending from low lunar orbit to the surface, and once the lunar mission is complete, launching from the surface of the moon and ascending all the way back to the orbiting Gateway. Once back aboard the Orion spacecraft and undocked from Gateway, the crew fire their engine once to break out of the halo orbit and once again to sling the spacecraft around the moon, placing it on a multi-day trajectory back towards Earth. As they near
They're gonna fly from the moon back in that little thing, huh?
They just circled the moon and didn't land on it or anything. Just all that to go circle the moon and come back. I mean,
what I found interesting though was it just really hinted at the privatization of space. And it's like, if there really was resources on the moon and like potential gold mine stuff, it would have happened. They would have been all over it.
It'll be a war over that shit. It'll be a huge war about that shit. They'll be fucking talking about it. Their little trade bargoes. We trade. We putting tariffs on moon dust and shit. They never talk about the moon. None of this Ukraine, Israel. Nobody even mentions the moon. The moon is irrelevant. There's nothing up there. They haven't been there. Salute to Boy Kachina. He says, going on feelings, LOL, emotional responses. Boy Kachina, are you watching this, man? He says, all right, you Karens. I'm tired. Go look out at it.
You need to explain why the fucking moon being red means anything.
Right, exactly. Exactly. That doesn't change. And this is just
Near the end of this journey, the service module is released, and the crew module is oriented heat shield first. Entering Earth's atmosphere at 25,000 miles per hour, the friction of air slows Orion considerably, while also subjecting it to temperatures of 5,000 degrees. With the Orion now at just 300 miles per hour, a series of parachutes uniquely tested and produced for this moment deploy, decelerating the craft to just 20 miles per hour for splashdown. With each successful mission, Artemis ushers in the next wave of men and women to explore our moon and prove that together we are ready to go beyond.
any final thoughts, man?
Yeah, I guess the last point is the satellites. I think that's a big argument for people who believe in space, but you can just have satellites at the fucking whatever the stratosphere is, like right before it becomes space. That's like 70,000 feet. I don't know, but you can see a whole lot of shit from up there, and you're not in space.
They never mentioned the satellite. Hitting the satellite, trying to avoid the satellite, making sure, the dangers of running into a satellite, precautions that they've taken to make sure that they didn't mention satellites, not one time.
Well, it's like teaching a kindergartner. They're drawing it like a little animated cartoon and explaining it with the same detail.
No, but nobody. The guy didn't mention satellites. The fucking black astronaut. Nobody.
I'm just saying it's a common argument for we went into space.
He didn't say he saw. He didn't say he saw satellites out the window. Nobody ever says they saw the stars. Like it's just bizarre, man. Yeah, $25 billion a year, and that's all you got. $25 billion a year
At least
for the last 6 years, at least for the last 60 years, and that's all you got. Same black time, same black channel. Out of here. Subscribe. Peace out.